I'd like to call the Smithfield Town Council meeting to order, Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025 at 7 p.m. There were no votes taken in executive session. The prayer. Heavenly Father, as we gather together, we're thankful for all the skills and talents that you have given us, for everyone who is part of this team. Have a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Emergency exit and evacuation health notification.
In the event of an emergency in the council chambers, there are two exits, one to the very rear. Straight out that exit, take a right, lead you down the stairwell to the front of the building. Second exit to my right, where you see the exit sign. Take that stairwell, lead you to the side of the building. In the event of emergency, do not use the elevator. Ladies' room and men's room, directly out the rear door. To the right is the men's room. Up the stairs to the left is the ladies' room.
Thank you, Chief. Presentation, Senior Center update by Mr. Vin Zabelli, the new Senior Center Director.
Good evening, Council. I'm glad everyone came out for this presentation. This is amazing. Thank you so much, because it's seniors. This is
So
National Senior Center Awareness Month. So September 25th, we are having an open house for the entire community to come out and celebrate 30 years of the Smithfield Senior Center. It's a wonderful opportunity. I know we're all eagerly waiting for this announcement. So thank you for all coming tonight, and we hope to see you there.
Mr. Zabelli, you all set now?
I think I am. Thank you. I thought it was a great opportunity to just
You have the
kind of
right to
engage.
remain silent. Go ahead, sir.
So, thank you. So, it's a privilege to speak in front of the council tonight. There's been a lot of things in the 5 months since I've taken over on April 7th that I'm really proud of and very excited about. One is the amazing team and the structure that's been put in place before I arrived. The town of Smithfield has invested in the Senior Center, in the Human Services Department, in a way that should make proud. What the goal is moving forward is 4 layers. We want to make everyone in the town of Smithfield feel welcome. Nothing's going to happen if someone walks into a building or someone needs assistance if they don't feel welcome or the fact they can be approachable. 2, safe. You walk into the Smithfield Senior Center, you engage in the Smithfield Human Service Department, you need to feel safe. You need to know that the people who are there are going to care. You know the people who are there are going to keep confidentiality and have the best interests of the residents and the 55-plus members of our community. 3rd, engaged. Finding different ways to engage our community, not just through the 55-plus community, but also through the human services. The human services really is a blank slate for our town. There are so many amazing opportunities that people want to do good, and so many new partnerships, and we'll highlight some of those in a few minutes. Finally, all this is useless if people don't feel connected. 21% of the town of Smithfield's population, 65 and over, live by themselves. Nobody in their homes. People drive by every single day, and we don't know if they need help or not. Not everyone can advocate for themselves. That connected piece is really the goal. That connected piece is the goal of the Smithfield Senior Center and the Smithfield Human Services. Do people feel connected to their town? The goal of any healthy aging program, not just in Smithfield, but the state and in the nation, is to allow people to age in place. Allow families to be able to raise their family healthy, safe. That's what we're looking to do with the Human Services Department. 3 areas that we immediately began to look at. 1, infrastructure. All the programs are great, all the initiatives are wonderful, but if the structures literally aren't the way they should be and not the best for our community, then we need to address that. Certain things that we've done since April 7th. One, we've updated the phone systems. Two, we've secured and updated the technological infrastructure. Three, we went around and looked at and took an assessment of all the at-risk pieces that physically need to be repaired, touched up, replaced. Three, human services. Look at the human service department. One of the things that we wanted to do is try to bring together the 8 different food banks that are in the community of Smithfield. Now, I didn't know that. There's 8 different food banks, all offering different resources, different services. Trying to give all those entities that work so hard, put in so many hours, so many volunteers, a place to share out that information and what resources are there so our residents feel connected. One of the things that have derived from that is the Smithfield Mobile Food Bank. Just started about 3 weeks ago. We've been meeting with the Smithfield YMCA, St. Mike's, Jericho Road, St. Vincent de Paul, and one of the large problems this time of year, believe it or not, is abundance of fresh food. More food is coming in through the farms and the donations than people are taking it out. Now, we know not everybody in the town of Smithfield who could access one of these areas are taking advantage of it. So after talking to the Smithfield Y, St. Vincent de Paul, we came up with the program. Let's do a mobile food bank. Where on Thursdays, after the last food bank closes, I go around, pick up all the fresh stuff that, and believe me, we're not talking like back end. We're talking stuff coming straight from the gardens over at St. Philip's, Jaswell's Farm, Stop and Shop, and other places, loading it up and bringing it to the elderly housing complexes in the town. One way to show that people feel connected. So that's one of the ways that Human Services has been working. Part 2, Senior Center, trying to engage. Our population of 65 plus and the population of 21% living alone is higher than most towns in the state. We're above average. But what the concern is, in my mind, isn't us servicing those groups, that demographic. It's the 45 to 55. When you look at the chart of the population spread, that demographic is by far the largest population in our town. So what we're doing today is good. It helps our 55 plus community age healthily in place. But are we ready for that 45 to 55 population? Do we have the infrastructure, the programming, the supports? Because their needs are distinctly different than the needs of some of the members there now. So how are we trying to address that? What are we trying to do? Well, we're trying to get the buses out on the road more. The town of Smithfield has 3 vehicles. Van, small bus, 20-passenger bus. We increased those runs. Before April 7th, they were running twice a week. Now we're running 3 to 4 times per week. Right now, we have runs based off of the people that take it. We ask for their opinions and views all the time to get them out. One of the runs, we have a hop on the bus program where Town Manager Seltzer, Police Chief Dolan jumped on the bus. Not as a bandstand thing, but to talk, to hear, to listen, to make the people that cannot ride in our elderly complexes feel connected. And in both instances so far, the residents took advantage of that opportunity and were very direct. From trees overhanging on Church Street, blocking a do not turn left sign, to Town Manager Seltzer being very cautious and going, well, why are you crossing Route 44 anyway? And one of the passengers on the bus said, how else am I going to get my food? I don't drive. So getting those vehicles on the road and getting people to drive those buses is huge. But that hop on the bus program is one of the ways we're looking to do it. Another program we're looking to do, golf simulator. It has caused so much noise in the community. It's great and it's a curse. The curse is, for me, there's not enough space. There's certainly not enough space in the senior center in that building that wasn't designed for the way we're using it. But we have people wanting to do leagues. We have members asking, when is it going back up? We use that through OHA money. So we've been trying to partner with our state and local agencies to find new ways for funding. Because let's face it, times are tough budget-wise. So finding different ways and grants and opportunities to keep what we should be doing, make our residents feel connected, but more importantly, be prepared for that 45 to 55 gap is what we're trying to do. So that's just brief. I know there's a lot of things on the agenda tonight, so I don't want to take a lot of time, but does the council have any questions?
Yes, I do, Director Zabelli. Thank you again for your very nice presentation.
Thank you.
And for speaking with you the other day. Just a quick, can we have that one pager or two pager, whatever it was, of the list of changes entered into the record for this meeting as well? And would you be able to just reiterate your process for getting public feedback and any proposed changes that?
Absolutely. It's a great question. One is this, it's listening, it's talking, it's jumping on the buses, it's jumping in the vans, it's moving around. So that's the informal thing, because there's always going to be a group in any room, in any community, that's going to be vocal, that's going to come and say what they want, and they'll come right up and tell you what they like and don't like. But there's also the large majority that's a little bit quieter, that doesn't want to do that. So moving around and talking and engaging and being available, that's one way. We have an advisory council, right, which is a membership representative group that meets bi-monthly, more if we need it, to give feedback. We as a staff meet regularly to discuss everything that we do. And to be honest with you, I also pick the brains of a lot of people in this room and ask what is going on in the residents, because the Smithfield Senior Center and the Human Services just isn't where, people go when they don't have anything else to do. It really is a thriving, living place that has a lot of energy. So seeking that feedback and hearing what they want and moving to different community events is one of the ways. It's a great question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and I appreciate you keeping us posted on any changes that occur in the future through the town manager.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Director.
Thank you.
Item number 6, minutes. Move the minutes of the August 5th, 2025 work session meeting to be approved and recorded. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Item B, move the minutes of August 5th, 2025 executive session meeting held pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 4246-5A. 1, personnel to interview Brandon Edwards, Section 4246-5, real estate potential acquisition, lease a real property and approved as recorded and sealed. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Nays? Ayes have it. Item C, move the minutes of August 5th, 2025 open session meeting to be approved as recorded. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Have a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Nays? Ayes have it. Item number 7, consider, discuss, act upon the possible appointments and reappointments, budget and financial review board appointment with the term expiring January 2029. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to appoint Brandon England.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Nays? Ayes have it. Land Trust reappointment with the term expiring September of 2027.
Motion to reappoint Gary Koss.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Nays? Ayes have it. Item C, Economic Development Commission reappointment with the term expiring September 2026.
Motion to reappoint Brandon Riley.
Do I have a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Item number 8, public hearings. Conduct a public hearing to consider, discuss, and act upon amendments to Section 5.10 of the Smithfield zoning ordinance entitled Inclusionary Zoning.
Motion, well, I'll kind of just give a little rundown of this. This was a amendment to the inclusionary zoning ordinance. It's been changed a few times over the last few years to try to change with the times of Smithfield, change with the zoning ordinances changing within the state. The goal of these changes are to try to encourage single-family developments, not as much comprehensive permit use when it comes to developments. That should decrease the amount of inundation, the developments that are being inundated with, basically. It does decrease the affordable housing component from 33% to 20%. It's drafted as 15%, but I would, at the appropriate time, make a motion to change that to 20% to go along with the state law. It changes the times that affordable kicks in, if you will, for 10 or more on a single-family development, 6 or more on a multifamily development. These changes, like I said, should hopefully increase single-family developments in town, decrease these large-scale condo developments that we're seeing all over. That's hurting the schools, hurting our public services, things like that. The only other thing that I would change from the posted zoning ordinance amendment is section M. This in lieu of fee structure was removed previously. What we were toying with adding it back in, the planning board, when they did review this, did recommend that we don't add that back in. I would agree with that, and I know some other of the council colleagues agree with that as well. So at the appropriate time, I would make a motion to pass the ordinance as drafted, with the exception of changing the 15% in the percentage of affordable units to 20, and keeping the fee in lieu of removed as drafted currently.
With that being said, I'll open up the public hearing. Anyone has any comments pertaining to that, please step to the podium. May we have your name, your address, social security number? No, I'm only kidding.
Thank you. My name is Kathy Lerner. I live at 48 Maureen Drive. My question to you is, what is a large-scale condo development? You said if we go to 20%, we would then have a decrease in the larger-scale condo developments. That's very vague. What does that mean?
Sure. So right now, there's two ways to, because we're not at our 10% goal for low, moderate income units within our town, there's kind of two ways to go about developing in town. You could go through our typical zoning ordinances, or you could go through a comprehensive permit. Those comprehensive permits kind of throw away the zoning ordinances as we have them to protect us from large-scale developments. And the reason those are more attractive is because they have a lesser number of low, moderate income units that are required. So by us lowering the percentage to this 20%, it should make it more attractive for developers to go within the bounds of our zoning ordinance. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay.
Can anybody else explain it? I'm so sorry. I'm not a lawyer.
Well, let
Mike,
me,
you want to help me out on this?
yeah.
Okay.
It's a very complicated, zoning is very complicated, and so I'm glad our new planner is going to be doing a column in the Observer to try to simplify it. Last year, we increased the required percentage from 15% to 33% for the reason that developers were getting very large density bonuses without contributing very much to our ability as a town to meet our 10% required LMI, low and moderate income minimum. Now, a 33% requirement only makes sense if inclusionary zoning also applies to comprehensive permit applications, so that even comp permit applications would have to comply with the 33% LMI. Now, the town solicitor and assistant solicitor interpret the state law so that the comprehensive permit statute supersedes the inclusionary zoning provisions, so that applications under the comp permit statute would still only require a 25% LMI housing. So that being the case, all the developers are going to file under the comprehensive permit because they only have to do 25%, and the comprehensive permit statute has these very large density bonuses. So in order to entice them to proceed under the inclusionary zoning statute,
we have to have an amount that's lower, being 20%. That's why we selected 20%. That's a lower requirement for LMI. I think 15% was too low. And so I asked the planning board to recommend 20%.
Okay, and so you were recommending the 20%, that was the number that you said, okay. I see
Right,
Ed's
yeah.
shaking, okay.
So the planning board looked at this previously, just to kind of give some background.
Yes.
The planning board combed through this and made recommendations to us, and we are just approving the recommendations that the planning board combed through. So those things that I mentioned were some changes that the planning board suggested that I'm in agreement with, and I know some other people are in agreement with as well.
And so the funds that come to the developers, the state gives them tax breaks, is that correct? Is that what this is all about?
No.
If I build, 20% LMI in a development, do I get a tax break? Well, what's the value then?
So these are, it's
The
required.
government's saying you need to do this.
So they get a density bonus.
And what is a
under
density
comprehensive-
bonus, if you could
So
repeat
you'll be
it?
able to build for each affordable unit you build, depending on the number of units that exist in the actual development, you can get a market rate unit, an extra market rate unit that you would not normally be entitled to under your regular zoning ordinance.
Okay, so,
Yeah, let me mention that. Originally, you would get under the inclusionary zoning, under the state statute, and under our ordinance, you would get a 1 market unit bonus
Right.
for every LMI. Then the state changed their statute to require a 2 market rate unit for every LMI unit. So we had to change our ordinance.
right,
Then the state went back and changed it back to 1 market rate unit for every LMI unit. And so now what this would do also is change us back to just 1 market rate unit for every LMI unit, so less dense.
so if I'm the developer and I want to build 100 units, and I say 10 of them are going to be LMI, I get another 10? I get something?
Well, if you're a developer, you want to build 100 units.
Yeah.
If you want to build them under this inclusionary zoning ordinance, 20% would have to be LMI.
Okay,
So you would have to make 20 LMI, and you would get another 20 market rate units, so you'd get 120.
okay,
And that's required by state law.
okay, so that's where the state law comes
So your
in.
regular zoning at the municipal level, we have no control.
Yes, I
Losing
am,
our control to regulate our zoning.
right, we have to meet, per the state, at this current time, in the town of Smithfield, a 10%, and we're at 6.82% right now, or 7%.
No, we're like
And-
4.
5.8. 5.8.
5.8? Okay,
It's about how tall I am.
I believe it. So with the current median income in Smithfield, as of 2024, of $93,179, and the median single-family home is $465,000. Again, this was a year ago, per the Housing Works. I'm not quite sure how people are going to afford LMI housing with A, the cost of living, B, the low income of probably all of us, C, the new tariffs that went into place that are going to affect everything. So the cost of a home, on my street, I almost fell over, okay? 2 families, one sold for $730, one sold for $680. These houses are worth probably $300,000 or $400,000, maybe 20 years ago. Parents are buying these people's homes for their kids. It's a wonderful thing. But for individuals who say, now, I want to afford an LMI home of $360,000, where are they getting the down payment? Who's helping them? And so we do have a terrible, terrible situation. Everybody should have food, water, senior center, and a roof over their head. But I'm not so sure that building complexes of over, 100 units are going to solve the problem without taxing fire, safety, water, highway, and schools.
I think that affordable number is closer to $400,000.
Right,
Those recent units that were sold in Smithfield under the affordability
Right.
They're 395.
provisions were over $400,000.
Right, so if I'm making 80% of $93,000, which is $78,000, how am I going to get a mortgage? And so it's a totally different scenario that's not realistic.
Well, the state law has been in effect now, under the comprehensive permit statute's been in effect now for, I think, almost 20 years. And I think it's a total failure, obviously.
Obviously.
Look at the facts. It's a failure. It really doesn't result in affordable housing. What it results in are mega condo units. We've got about 1,100 units in the pipeline. And even the units that are supposed to be affordable aren't really. We're talking about 400,000 now for affordable units. This is not how you build affordable housing.
This is not how you
If you're
build.
going to build affordable housing, build
Right.
affordable housing.
Today on the news, 30,000 people are on the centralized wait list for public housing vouchers. That means an individual who's making some subsidized income of maybe $900,000. This is a wait list. And so I am personally supporting housing. I am not supporting large condo complexes that impact the longevity and the ruralness of Smithfield. So we have big problems.
Hi, I'm Nancy Lancaster. I reside at 22 Laurie Ellen Drive. Maybe it was rumor, maybe it was fact, I don't know. But prior to the Congress breaking for summer, many rumors were flying that they were going to change the legislation, and then maybe it only was rumors, that was saying if a town had a population of less than 25,000, anybody hear this rumor? That the LMI mandate would be eliminated. And it got talked about and talked about and talked about, and then they broke for a vacation. Anybody ever hear that? No, just rumors to 22
It didn't
Laurel
pass, it
Drive?
did not pass.
Did many, they said there were multiple bills.
Yeah,
Nothing happened.
nothing happened.
Okay. Does this board have any desire to write a formal complaint to the state? And we can't just keep sitting here and saying, this is stupid, this doesn't make any sense. What formally can we complain about from a group of, maybe it's the city and town group?
Well, I drafted a bill that was introduced by Representative Santucci, supported by Representative Constantino. They're both sitting back there. And the bill would have given the town, an opportunity to select between inclusionary zoning, increasing the LMI to 50%, and getting rid of the comprehensive permit. And I outlined how the density of these projects would drop tremendously, and we would actually build housing that was more affordable. The bill actually, Senator Quain actually was successful in getting it through the Senate. It passed the Senate, went to the House, and the brakes were put on there because there's a different agenda in the House. And the House agenda is to continue down the path we've been going and doubling down on failed policies. They keep trying to make it easier and easier to build these mega condo projects, which are really not in the best interest of our town.
What about that group representing the cities and towns of Rhode Island?
I think the League, are you talking about the League of Cities and Towns?
Yeah, it might be it.
I believe we, if I'm correct, kind of came together and
With a
signed.
So we sent a resolution
Yeah,
in
we
from
sent
the town.
We sent a resolution to them stressing our concerns about this. I think it's still kind of new and everyone's working out the kinks, and we don't have a lot of control over the state law at all, but we're trying to rework all the things that we do have control over here to try to encourage as best as we can until everything gets fixed at the state level.
The league supported the bill.
Right.
That was put in. A lot of it is the cities in town, the cities have, where the big populations are, they have a different perspective than the towns. And they have more votes there. There are more representatives and senators. Those are the big population areas. And that's why it's so difficult to get this changed.
But one would doubt that they're building $400,000 condos in inner city Providence either. So, Providence is handling, and probably Pawtucket and Woonsocket are handling LMI very easily because of the density of their overall population. Our issues have been, and it looks like they're going to continue to be, we do not want these massive condo developments invading our countryside, and we're going to stand firm on that.
That's right.
Just to be clear, the
Yeah.
five of us don't want it either.
Good, I know you
We're,
don't.
we're trying
I don't
every
think
which
you do.
way but loose to try to get this rectified. But it's coming in a tidal wave.
Somebody can say no.
Part of the problem is
Planning board.
at the state level, they'll pass these laws, but you don't have they don't take into consideration the impact to infrastructure. So all of these denser developments are going to require, larger water lines, sewer lines.
Sure.
Schools.
Police, fire.
So the impact on
Police.
the municipal infrastructure is very, very significant.
But the other problem is, as the councilwoman just said, the planning board can say no, but they also have the authority to go to Superior Court and fight in Superior Court, and we have no chance. Because once the judge says that they're good for that side, then we're in trouble. So it's an uphill battle. We're behind you 110%. We're just going to have to keep doing what we're doing in order to try to mitigate these massive developments. That's why one of the things we're looking at is to take over St. Aloysius Home. If we don't get that, you don't even have a clue what could go up over there. I wish I had enough money to buy Lime Rock Road, St. Aloysius Home, and a few other big parcels,
Yeah.
because that's where they're honing in on. That's where these developers are honing in on.
Well-
Big acreage, so they can put a lot of houses, condos, et cetera.
I practiced a long time ago the notion 'tis better to ask for forgiveness than permission. So stand up, say no, ask your public to go to Supreme Court with the representatives, and if we have to go to the State House, we'll go to the State House. It's nice to know that our town is behind us, but so far, that doesn't seem to be working. So if you always do what you've always done, you're always going to get what you always got. So let's change what we do.
But I will tell you, our state reps and senators are all on our side,
Well, then why isn't it changing?
because of what the councilman just said.
The numbers.
The numbers don't work. The numbers.
We don't want the numbers.
So, we're stuck right now. So
That's why I got a
we're
proposal.
fighting for the towns, all rep one. The rep and I, we voted against every housing bill that came down this session, and we lost on pretty much every one of them. And, we went to hearings, they didn't want to hear it. You're talking about the people in Providence, Central Falls, Cranston, and
But what about the proposal that was, they're fine, leave them alone? but don't do it to the towns that are smaller.
Listen, I went to the speaker, I asked the speaker right out, listen, they're killing us, right? So Smithfield has, what, 1,100 units?
Yeah.
Tiverton has 1,800 units on the drawing boards. It's ridiculous, it's absolutely ridiculous, but we don't have the numbers to fight. So it's you know, it's.
What are you talking by numbers, the
People
percentage?
in the room, there's 75,000
Oh.
votes, you know, so what do we have, 20, 25 votes, pretty much, and the rest are just voting to go along. Question for me was, and the lady that just spoke before you brought it up, I was always asking, I voted against every house in bill, Paul did also, so my question always was, if somebody can give me a description of what affordable rent is, which I still haven't, to this day, no one's answered that question. What is an affordable rent? And what is an affordable, if you want to buy a piece of property, what's an affordable price for people to buy these homes? And I still, to this day, have not gotten a number on what is affordable.
Well, they're citing all this percentage of
No, the
the
percentages.
median income.
You have, the rents in Providence right now, between $2,000 and $2,500. That's what the rents are. And what they're doing is they're squeezing people out, okay, on the lower side. And it's killing us. It's killing us, and we can't get a number, we can't get an answer. So there's a move with the State House to create all this housing, okay? The developers are all getting rich, they're doing
That's
terrific.
who's winning in this whole
They're
battle.
winning, and unfortunately, you know, it's gonna destroy the towns. And that's the
From your
reality.
political viewpoint, what needs to happen?
People need to get involved, people need to,
Us? Every one of us?
everybody needs to inform the State House.
We did that just for Lime Rock Road.
Yes, I know it was there, told
Yeah.
everybody.
Yes.
I gotta-
You saw what a turnout we had.
Yes, all the speakers.
We'll triple it,
Let them know.
right? We triple it, we'll quadruple it.
So, that's where
You
we're
haven't
at
seen
right now.
enough signs yet. We're really gonna make them.
So, that's where we're at.
All right, well, keep trying,
We're
but
fighting, we're
I'm not
fighting,
sure that it's working.
we're fighting.
Thank you, Nancy. Anyone else on this issue?
Oh, Charles Boyd, 14 Spike Street, Greenville, Rhode Island. I'd like to say one thing only.
This is microphone.
I'm glad you realize that this density stuff has been a problem. I've been looking at this for 3 years on the planning board. I've been yelling and screaming about it. I even got removed because I was told I was too forward against the development by this town. So we won't get into that. But I'm glad that we're seeing that is the problem. The developers are taking advantage of state laws. So, thank you for noticing that. I really do. But you need to push it a little further. You gotta start with this, my opinion, the zoning board. If you don't change the zones, then there's nothing they can do about it. You make the acreage smaller, the frontage smaller, stuff like that. When I was on the planning board, to get these things developed, they had to go to the zoning board. The zoning board gave them the variance. The word variance was given out like it was a candy. And that's what got me upset, because we can fight it. If we stick with the comprehensive plan that was developed 10 years ago, read it and follow it, we'll be all set. But it changes every 10 years, I understand that, because everything else changes, the town changes, so the areas change. But the committee looks into that for us, and they put it on paper for you, the planning board, all of us to understand that this is what's gotta be developed, that's what can't be developed, and this should be developed, don't touch that. And just stick with it. What we're doing is getting it, looking at it and going, I don't like it, I'm gonna do what I want. Stick with what the plan says, and we won't have any problems. That's what I'm saying with the club, with the 44th, they don't want to get into something. Just stick with what that area was comprehensively planned for, and just let it stay at that. And we won't have any problems about fighting and just like that, because all we're doing is fighting about this. And another thing to do is have a committee on this LMI stuff so everybody understands it. I've been looking at it for 3 years and my head is still going nuts on it. What can do, what can't do. The only people who understand it are the contractors and the lawyers. So every time I talk to somebody on the planning board, it was, we'll sue you. I heard, I'm going to sue you every other 5 minutes. That's all they say. We're going to sue the town. We're going to sue the town. Thank God the planning board's finally stuck up for the other project and finally said, you know, we're going to do it. So this council has to back the planning board, make sure that when they speak, that they don't have to fear for losing their job on that planning board. Because I got, you know, I was there, every 5 minutes I was told, oh, well, and I didn't do it, and I got fired from it. So we got to straighten out where we're going to go.
Mr. Boyd, let's not get into personnel matters here. We thank you for your comments.
Congratulations, but I'm just saying to you, what I'm saying to you, please, keep thinking. You're going in the right direction. You really are, but just keep thinking. People in this town don't want it. Do what the people want. Not what the lawyer says or how we're going to get sued. It's immaterial about it. He's a good lawyer. I got all the confidence in the world in that man right there. He'll get us out of anything. If it's legal, if it's legal, and if it's in the comprehensive plan, there's nothing they can do to us. Just stick with it. That's all I'm saying. You're going in the right direction. Thank you. I was really pleased to hear that. I really was. The density, that word density has been enough to drive me nuts. 2 for 1. That's just like, you know, I don't know. But thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Jim Bussum.
You know what happens when they have people have bad knees?
What happened?
Pull you out to the farm.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, I'm trying to keep the farm.
There you go.
Jim Bussum, 2 Karen Ann Drive, Smithfield. I guess the problem is that, or because of the comprehensive permits, does our amendment do anything to maintain our zoning regulations? I mean, if to Charlie's point, if we could keep the R200, I don't think we would have a problem with they wanted to build something that fits in the R200. But the problem is the comprehensive permits let them do what they want.
Yeah, if a developer were to select inclusionary zoning, it would follow our zoning regulations. However, if the developer chooses to follow the comprehensive permit process, they don't have to follow our zoning regulations. And the density bonuses are tremendous, and that's why we're getting these mega developments. It's because of the comprehensive permitting
Does this
process.
amendment do anything to?
This is only, we're trying to encourage them to follow this. It may not work, but we're trying to encourage them to follow inclusionary zoning so that they have to actually follow our zoning.
So by making that low moderate income percentage lower through the inclusionary zoning option, it will hopefully incentivize developers to use that route. Follow our zoning, do less LMI, maybe they'll make more money, we'll get less development. So that's kind of, we're trying to encourage them to do that instead of going through comp permit at 25%, it's 20% this way. And this way they have to follow our zoning. We'll see if it works. We've been trying to kind of adapt, and we mess with this ordinance a few times, trying to encourage single-family developments, encourage smaller developments, encourage inclusionary zoning options. So this is,
We've got a
in
good comprehensive
practice,
plan, we've got
yeah.
a good zoning ordinance. If we can just maintain it in some
Right.
way, that would be awesome.
hopefully this will do that.
Thank you.
Good luck with the knee.
Mike Bussum, 21 Crest Circle. I just wanted to share with you that actually today, Providence Business News came out with an article about Westerly, Rhode Island. Westerly zoning, or planning board did reject a pretty major development in their town. It went to Superior Court, and the Superior Court upheld that decision. So I hope that we do encourage our planning board to consider the same. And in lieu of that, I am in support of the amendment that you have here, because I appreciate that we're trying to do something to encourage it. So I just wanted to share that with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Paul Santucci, 10 Appletown Road. As this evening progressed and I listened to the comments, one of the things that stood out in my mind is an article that if anyone wants to Google, just Google the name Scott Millar. He is a DEM scientist and a land use planner, and he has written for a number of years now about the unintended consequences of all this building. I grew up in town. I've lived here for 56 or 57 years now. And I remember when it was much, much different. But I have to say that where we really are getting hurt, as well as other communities, is on small country roads that were not meant for this type of development. And that is a fact. That's where we're seeing a lot of runoff, which causes poor water quality, et cetera. So I just like everyone to know, and I think everyone on the council knows that myself, Rep. Costantino, and Senator Takoyan are behind the town 100% on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
Matthew Fay, 247 Old County Road. Good evening. A little late to the game tonight. I was out walking the roads before it got dark. Saw a lot of people coming here tonight. I said, you know, I got to come talk. Our town has changed. We've all been here a long time. My wife used to wait on this gentleman when he was at Country Kitchen. That was many years ago.
Did you leave a tip?
I used to leave a hefty tip. I don't know about this. But just getting back to some of the things that are going on, I mean, the recent actions that the planning board took. It's a great turnout here tonight. I wish this was at the high school and the high school auditorium was full. The amount of traffic in the vehicle, it doesn't take 5 minutes to get somewhere anymore. It's 20 minutes, half hour. Just even if you're going to the next town to go to work, you have to plan your route accordingly. A lot of these comprehensive plans all have to have 20-foot roads. We're going to reduce the amount of water runoff. We're going to collect it, and we're going to do right things with it, but yet people report that there's still flooding problems in their neighborhoods. EMS, I might know a little bit about that. How many emergency vehicles are using Mountaindale Road now to bypass town instead of taking a most direct route? That's a problem. But again, if we stick to our guns, you guys push back, send it back to Providence, and take our chances on some of them. We don't want to be in litigation all the time, but it seems like Smithfield's one of the towns right now to go to. And you can just go to the coffee shops and a lot of builders in town, whether they're from inside or outside, they're all talking about plans. They spend a lot of time seeking out property in town that's developable, that'll fall into these programs. We got a new planner coming on. I suggest that a lot of these people in this room start coming to the planning board meetings. And again, going back to zoning. They come in with their plans and they ask for a variance. They ask for some type of relief. How about the zone says it's this, and that's what you can have. And that's what I think you can push back on a little bit. We've got a project going in, not to get into the planning board stuff, we've got a project going in at the old school, Windsor School. I sat up there on the weekend, watched traffic. If the light is backed up, red going westbound, people are using the library because it's closed as a cut-through. That might be navigating the traffic light to come back out to Pleasant View and then go around, or are they going to take a right onto Pleasant View, but now they're zipping through the parking lot? Again, peer review. Keep the peer review up. Please keep the peer review up. If there's people in town that are engineers, biologists, any type of architectural, structural engineers, they should start coming to the meetings and bring up their concerns and voice things. This is not just these people up here or the planning board, it's a whole community. I have friends that are builders. My wife's uncle that built my house, he's a builder. I respect their rights, I respect property rights. But what they're trying to jam down our throats, and it all starts back on Smith Hill. And that's where you gotta push back. Unfortunately, they're the big guns, but numbers change things. And that means people need to show up and be a little more, maybe voiceful. Everybody knows their neighborhoods, born and raised in town. I used to sit on that fire ramp when my dad made fire runs as a volunteer. I'd be given a quarter. I could get a soda and a candy bar out of the machine and wait till he came back from the calls. This is not the town from 1970. It's not 1980. It's not even 1999 anymore. Take a look around you. Look at the traffic. All right? We don't need more shopping plazas. The housing issue, I got a cousin that is a pilot, lives out in Texas. If you build something in Texas and the big communities down there, the builders come in and do the infrastructure. I caught somebody's discussion about the antiquated infrastructure. Smith Avenue. Who lives on Smith Avenue? How many water line breaks have we had over there in the past year? But yet, a developer's going to tie into that. Bigger water lines, bigger problems. Sewer lines, bigger problems. How much more can the sewage plant? Has anybody done an assessment on that? When you move to Texas and these other communities, the developer has to put the money into the infrastructure, build the schools, expand the fire departments, the police departments, and take care of the roads. Not here. They come up. I respect all attorneys and counsels in the room, but when they stand here and they say, well, we can do this. We're trying to work with the town. It's almost like they already pushed and poked the finger at the bear. Well, what do you expect the response is going to be? Don't come in, play hot shot, and push people around. Come in with your plan, make sure it's right, and try not to ask for all these variances in zoning. But when they come in here and they already dictate that we have to do this, you have to do it, the law says that. All right, take a chance down in Providence. There's some responsible building that takes place, and a lot of it right now is not responsible. Jamming it into mountainsides, areas, no sidewalks, no streetlights, no sewer, no water. They're putting sewer systems on top of well systems. That's just a problem down the road, especially in big, large developments like that. You have to have redundancy. You have to have things set up so that there's proper drinking water. Wells don't go contaminated. All these developments that want to put in wells and septics, when the well goes bad, is the town going to be responsible for bringing water up? So again, we don't need issues like up on Tarquin Road, right? I think I said enough. Apologize for my appearance tonight, but thank you for your time.
Anyone else?
Good evening, Jeff Gross. I'm a Gloucester resident. I see what you guys are going through. Welcome to the city of Smithfield. That's where you're headed. And what goes on with the city? A big strain on the infrastructure. I won't go there too much, other than it puts a big strain on your fire department, puts a big strain on your police department. Smithfield PD often has their hands full 24/7. They need it to get worse. How about this? Providence, Cranston, 4 children have been shot by other children in the last 3 weeks. Another child was beaten with a hammer. Welcome to city life. City of Warwick, their school, 2 new schools are $50 to $100 million over budget. They budgeted $300 million. They're now looking at a minimum of $350, maybe $400 million. Smithfield want to go that route? It's time to put, and I haven't heard anybody say it, so I'll throw it out there. It's time to put an end to expansion building. Yeah, maybe put on a ADU for your stepmother or the like, but I just came down 116. I saw a big condo development at Maury Road and 116. That wasn't there 3 weeks ago. I don't know what people are thinking, but I heard the gentleman in the sweatshirt talk about time travel. I've been timing it daily. Route 44 from downtown Chepachet, that's a pun, to the 295 interchange. It's 9.4 miles. On average, 27 minutes to get there. Most of the traffic is in Smithfield. Worse yet, that does not include rush hour, 3:30 to 6 p.m. I can imagine those times are worse. Right now, Tiverton, Rhode Island has 400 houses going in on Fish Road. City of Warwick put 44 houses where the John Wicks Elementary School was. Why they ripped it out and had to build a new one is beyond me. East Greenwich, North Kingston line, they're putting in another 400 houses. The potato fields I used to hunt in for dove back in the day are now a minimum of 450 houses down in Shartner Farm area. What's this trying to, where is the direction of this state? Now, this isn't just Smithfield. Are they looking to make it the city of Rhode Island, where it takes 2 hours to go from Westerly to Attleboro? I think, again, it's time to put a stop to all this ridiculous building. Thank you.
Anyone else? I'm going to close the public hearing. Councilwoman?
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to make a motion to approve the zoning ordinance as amended and recommended by the Planning Board, which would include the 20% and removing the fee in lieu.
Do I have a second? Any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Nays? Ayes have it. Item B, conduct a public hearing to consider, discuss, or act upon amendments to Chapter 186, Code of Ordinance entitled Entertainment Shows and Special Events, sponsored by Councilwoman Ionati and Councilwoman Tapi. I'll open up the public hearing. Councilman, do you want to explain?
This is a very basic and simple change. Right now, every time an event is planned, it has to be advertised, and notice has to be sent to all of the abutters, which is very expensive for the town. I believe this just started to be enforced. This was in the ordinance for how many years? Decades. It's been, and it's never been enforced. We've never done this before. And it was discovered that the ordinance wasn't being followed. So now we are being hit with all of these advertising costs for every small event that happens. So what this change would do is it would limit the advertising, just the advertising of a hearing before the town council and notice to abutters of a hearing before the town council to events equal or exceeding 1,000 persons. And in that way, we'd still have hearings on every event, but we wouldn't have to go through the expense of, advertising it in the Observer and sending out notice for some of these small events, which the cost of it is so great that, some of these events may not even be able to be held because, if the organizer of the event has to pay for the advertising and notice, some of these events, not a lot of money is being made by some of the things that, people sponsor here. A lot of it is made by, we have events put on by churches, charities, different things going on. So I think the intent of the ordinance was to make sure that notice was given on large events. And I mean, I have 1,000 in here, but I mean, we could put any number that the council, I just put a number in, and any number that the council thinks is appropriate.
Chief, I had a question in terms of the food truck festivals. What is the average attendance there?
Well, it depends. Obviously, the 4th of July, we predict about 6,000-7,000
Thousand?
people, yeah. But the regular food truck events, it varies 800 to 1,500.
Okay. I think 1,000 is a good number.
Definitely.
Let's run it out and see what happens. We'll just come back next year and review it.
All right, I'll open up the public hearing. Anyone like to speak on this issue? Hearing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. Councilman?
Move passage.
Have a second. Any more discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Item C, schedule a public hearing October 7th, 2025, to consider and discuss or act upon amendments in Chapter 50, Code of Ordinance entitled Juvenile Hearing Board, sponsored by myself. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it. Item D, schedule a public hearing October 7th, 2025, to consider and discuss act upon amendments of 126 Code of Ordinance entitled Animals, sponsored by myself. I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Nays, ayes have it. Item E, schedule a public hearing October 7th to consider and discuss or act upon amendments to Chapter 321, Code of Ordinances entitled Taxation. I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in
Is there supposed to be a public hearing on this?
Yeah, October 7th.
Schedule a public hearing.
Oh, so it's just to schedule it?
Just schedule.
Yeah, I'd like to discuss something regarding the taxes. Like many residents, I was surprised last month when I opened my tax bill to find that the due date had been pushed up a month.
Excuse me for 1 second. Can we just
Yep.
vote on this and then you do it?
Well, this is part of our discussion on the taxation issue,
Okay, all right.
okay? As I said, I was surprised when I opened my tax bill to find that the due date had been pushed up a month. Taxes which were previously due at the end of September were now due on the 1st of September. Quarterly payments were now due on the 1st of December, 1st of September, 1st of December, 1st of March, 1st of June, instead of at the end of those months. Many of our residents have very tight budgets, and having only 2 months instead of 3 between tax bills this summer has caused problems for them, for some of them. Therefore, I want people to be aware that the town will not be charging interest on overdue payments for this fiscal year unless those payments are more than 30 days overdue. This will essentially phase in the change over the next year and allow residents time to contact their mortgage companies or make whatever adjustments to their budgets that are necessary to comply with these new due dates. This is especially needed, I think, because a lot of people got surprise increases in their tax bills because of revaluation. It was a revaluation year. Some went down, some went up, but some went up quite a bit. So I'm glad that, the town is going to hold off on charging people interest who are less than 30 days late on their bill.
Thank you. So item E, we have a motion, we have a second. Second.
Second.
Second.
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it. Item F, conduct a public hearing to consider, discuss, act upon approving a one-day special event license to revive the Roots to hold a Rootstock celebration at 10 Forge Road on the following dates: September 21st, 2025, from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. All event licenses to revive the Roots are subject to compliance with all state regulations and local ordinances. Anyone from Revive the Roots here? Yeah.
Good evening. I'm Jennifer LaPrest. I'm from Revive the Roots. I'm the Board of Chair Directors there.
Hang on 1 second. Sorry about that.
It's okay. So this is going to be our 5th year holding our annual Rootstock event. This event is open to all. It's a huge community event where we offer family-friendly activities. We also invite all of our community partners, the land trust being one, since it is the land trust property that we hold it on. This started 5 years ago as a fundraising effort for us to actually purchase the Mary Mowry house, which was successful. And so this has just become an annual event that our members and the town, we feel, love so much. So we're welcoming everyone to come down that day from 12 to 6. We're going to have some live music. We're going to have family-friendly activities. All of our community partners will be there. We'll have some food and desserts there, and we're going to invite the community to come on out and have a wonderful day outside with us on the property.
Great, thank you so much. I'll entertain a motion. A second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye.
Public
Nays?
hearing? Oh, was
Huh?
Yeah, it was a
that a
public
public hearing? Did we open the
It
public
was a
hearing?
public hearing, yeah. Yeah, you opened the public
Oh,
hearing.
we
Yeah,
did,
she
okay.
spoke.
Yeah, and she spoke.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that.
Anyone else like to speak on that? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nays, ayes have it. Item G, conduct a public hearing and consider, discuss, act upon authorizing amendments to section 9.3 of the Smithfield zoning ordinance entitled Putnam Pike, Esmond Street Plan Development District. I'll open up the public hearing. She's first.
Good evening. I'm a little under the weather, so excuse me for my voice. Joelle Rocha, attorney for the applicant on this zoning ordinance amendment. I will go through this briefly. There's probably public, I'm sure the council has questions, and I'm sure the public has questions. I had sent over a letter detailing the background of all the approvals on this. I've been involved with this property since about 2011, 2012. But the property's definitely has a storied past of trying to develop in different iterations. First, I know the comprehensive permit has been talked about a lot, but when the comprehensive permit first came on the scene in the early 2000s, this property had an iteration of that in the 300s or so units. That didn't work, then mixed-use development, and it all brought us to 2013, 2014, between the previous version of this council that, a couple iterations back, that passed the current zoning ordinance that deals with this property. And that is a mixed use, as you know. It's got hotel, it's got retail, it's got commercial. That then went through the planning process and unfortunately was approved, had final plan approval in February of 2020. I don't have to tell everybody what happened next, but the economy significantly changed with respect to that small retail office component of it. Since then, there's been significant interest in this property to the tune of, and I know it's kind of a swear word tonight, but just for context, of a lot of developers looking for high-density residential at this site. As my letter states, I was actually low on the density on a comprehensive permit, but you could see upwards of 300 units, and we did have a lot of interest. The property owner did have a lot of interest from developers in that realm. What we have tonight is an applicant who's under contract for the site and has presented a zoning ordinance amendment to the district that would allow two uses. It doesn't change the density on the residential piece. It's 124 units. In the existing ordinance, it's 124 units as proposed. There is a change, which I'll get to in a minute. But the biggest change is the medical facility proposed, four-story medical facility proposed generally in the area that the four-story hotel was approved. By way of process background, we're here tonight because there is a buyer who's very interested in developing these two components, who really needs some certainty to go forward. That this doesn't end here. This would then go back first of all, if we do have the good fortune of getting a zoning ordinance amendment, there's significant engineering, traffic studies, all of that stuff then happens. Then we go back in front of the planning board for review, public hearing, peer review, all of that process. It's our plan to incorporate those components in the next couple months as we fully engineer the site. The project previously approved does have final plan approval, and the 124 residential units plus the other uses could be built under that approval. This, again, is not the last stop. You don't give the green light and we go build tomorrow. They can do that under the previous iteration, but it does go through both the state process with DEM and DOT. I know traffic, the first go-around, I was there, well, not the first go-around, but the most recent go-around will be a major issue. We'll be starting that process, updating traffic studies, we've already begun talking with DOT. We have a development across the way who has a vested interest as well in those discussions. So that's where we are here. We think that the medical facility, which is a specialty facility, provides some really needed services to the residents of this community. I'll let my client talk about that briefly, and then we can discuss the residential portion.
Any questions from the council?
Where is this project, the original project with the hotel, in the process? Did that get master plan approval?
It has final plan approval.
It has final approval. So what process would you use if the zone change was granted? What process would you be using to go before the planning board?
Right, so this would go for an amended final plan, but it would look like a preliminary plan because it's a final plan in nature, but there's a public hearing. So publicly noticed, all of that stuff
So
will
there would be a
happen.
public hearing?
Yes.
Where is the plan that's been approved? I mean, I've never seen it.
It's approved, it was approved by the planning board 2020.
Well, I haven't seen it. And would you be willing to not do the residential units and just do the medical building?
No, not at this time.
I mean, would your client be willing?
No, there are two pieces to this development. There are two interested parties to this.
Two different parties?
Two different parties, yes. One, the residential builder doesn't do medical facilities. The medical facility doesn't do residential.
Do you represent both parties?
I do.
I had a question. If this is approved, can the buyer technically change their mind and move forward with a comprehensive permit and do whatever they want?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
See, this is the issue that I'm having with this comprehensive permit. You guys aren't doing that. You would have done it if you were going to do it. So to threaten the town and say, I'm going to do 300 units, 260 units, if we feel like it, is not appropriate because you're not going to do it because you would have done it. Fair to say?
These buyers with this current plan are not going down that road.
It sounds like no buyers are going down that road because this has been kicking around for 20 years. The planning board extended it 3 times or 4 times since 2020. There's obviously an issue with a large-scale residential development there. Don't know what it is. Obviously, it's not attractive to developers. Fair to say?
I'm not sure that's the case. I think that the path forward with some of the developers, there were some interested, they just never got, my understanding is the economics with the owner did not get to where they needed to be.
Okay. I have some remarks regarding this. I know it's a public hearing. I don't know if the president wants everyone to speak first.
Why don't you let them make
Okay.
that presentation first, and then you can ask questions.
Mr. President and members of the Smithfield Town Council, my name is Michael Integlia, and I have been the president of Michael Integlia and Company for the last 49 years. Our business is design, engineering, construction of commercial properties throughout all of New England and southern Florida. I'm here tonight working in conjunction with Churchill Banks and Company, as we have in the past on several projects, most notably Kettle Point in East Providence. Kettle Point is where my company has constructed a building similar to that which we propose here in Smithfield. We own and operate and maintain that medical office building in East Providence, and it is a prime example of our company's ability to deliver on approved plans and create value for the communities which we serve. Our model development has resulted in over 24 medical office buildings similar in size and scope throughout New England and southern Florida. We propose a 4-story modern, state-of-the-art medical office building dedicated specifically for that medical office use. Each floor will contain approximately 25,000 square feet and will be connected to all public utilities. The site area will be improved with approximately 7 parking spaces per 1,000 square feet. And the site will be fully landscaped to the requirements of the Smithfield Environmental Affairs Officer, Planning Board. Our building will be designed for medical and health services, multi-specialty use, and include an ambulatory surgical center. The surgical center will be used by surgeons performing outpatient surgeries, where patients will be discharged after surgical recovery, but certainly by the end of each day. Occasionally, a patient may be transported to a nearby hospital for overnight should they become disabled or should it become a requirement. Of course, we like the location because it's close by to Roger Williams Medical Center and Fatima Hospital. This building, the emphasis of this building and its occupancy will be for orthopedic medicine. The state-of-the-art medical diagnostic equipment will be housed in the building to provide services such as MRI, EOS, which is the next generation diagnostic imaging system, several X-ray suites, etc. The building will also house medical office, research laboratory, and educational facilities in conjunction with Brown University. The building will be a referral center, most importantly, a referral center for patients with back pain, joint pain, sports medicine, occupational, and physical therapy and rehabilitation will also be performed for hip, shoulder, elbow, knee, ankle, and other orthopedic problems. Very importantly, here in the building will also be a walk-in emergency orthopedic facility. And in a town like Smithfield, this is a very important public benefit. The walk-in emergency orthopedic facility is available to, I'd say, folks our age, as the population here in Rhode Island, population in America is aging. There's more and more of a need for orthopedic medicine. Children here in the town of Smithfield, if hurt or injured during an athletic event, can be brought immediately to the walk-in facility rather than to Hasbro. It's closer. Specialists are on call 24/7 on a Sunday afternoon soccer game. If a child is injured, brought to the emergency walk-in facility, a doctor, specialist with the availability of all of the diagnostic equipment that is housed in the building is immediately available to serve that need. The hours of operation of the building will be Monday through Friday from early morning until 5 p.m. And on the weekends for the orthopedic walk-in facility. Our goal tonight is to obtain clear authorization that the land uses that we need be allowed on this site and to encourage us to proceed to complete all necessary architectural, civil, and site engineering, traffic studies, and all that will be submitted to the planning department for our final plan approval and building permit. We're on a fast-track schedule. We have been working on this site for the last 6 to 8 months. we are programmed to begin construction in the spring of 2026 and delivery of the building by the fall of 2027. Have any questions? I'd be happy to address.
Do you have a site plan?
We have been considering a site plan. We have nothing developed at this point that is definitive. Our intention is to immediately move forward with a final site engineering plan. We've done a lot of studies on the site, but not a final site engineering plan. That's part of the civil and site engineering and architectural and engineering work, which we will undertake beginning immediately once we know that this site is permitted by right for this use. Joel has pointed out earlier that zone change did occur on this property. We need some clarification relative to that zone change that will permit those hospital uses, and I say hospital uses, but in your zoning ordinance, there is a hospital use which permits all of those specialty uses that will be included in this building. It will not be a hospital, but it will include those diagnostic uses, those medical uses, typical of a hospital. Since COVID, one of the places that you don't want to visit is a hospital. Having the availability of an outpatient facility such as this one and an outpatient surgical center particularly, where you can arrive for an outpatient surgery at 7 in the morning and walk out with a new hip at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, or a new knee, or a new elbow. It's time has come. Technology has evolved to the point where the doctors can work that quickly. The replacement joints are available, and the proof has been in the pudding. Many facilities like this exist throughout New England.
Mr. Intaglia, you stated that you've been working on the site the last 6 to 8 months. Can you explain what you mean by that?
Well, we've been doing site investigation, been reviewing surveys, wetlands, locations of wetlands, depth of wetlands, soils evaluations to determine the structural capacity of the soil of the site to hold a building of this nature.
So is there a reason why we don't have that information?
Well, we have that information. We'd be happy to share it with you, but it's all technical information. It's not graphic. We couldn't deliver to you a plan, as you've requested, showing the location of the building. We have had discussions with our IDOT relative to the existing curb cut that had been approved and permitted. We've had discussions about traffic and traffic engineering, and we're prepared, as I mentioned, to move forward with all of those studies immediately once we know that the site is permitted by right.
I'm sorry, can you just repeat the hours of operation again? You said it was Monday through Friday?
The building will be open Monday through Friday from early morning.
Which is?
6 a.m.
Okay.
Until 5 p.m. We typically want to discharge patients before 5 p.m. But if we can't discharge them because of some effect of the surgery, then they will be transported to a hospital for an overnight stay.
Okay. And then on the weekends?
Weekends will be open only for emergency orthopedic, the orthopedic direct.
What are the hours for that? Is that an all-day thing as well? I'm not familiar with emergency.
Typically, that would be open from 9 to 3.
Okay.
But the doctors are on call 24/7.
I see. So if someone shows up,
Yeah.
someone will meet them at the location. Okay, thank you. I've never been to a place like this, so I'm not familiar with the operations. Okay, thank you.
So guess what? I'll tell you all about it.
I know.
So you don't have anything to do with the residential units?
No.
Okay, so you wouldn't
No,
know
our-
what those would look
Our
like? Or
plan, once the site has been approved for the use, working in conjunction with Churchill and Banks, our intention is to acquire the site and then do an administrative subdivision so that one of the lots will be specifically for the medical office building and another lot will be specifically for residential. Should there be a need for cross easements for traffic, to support the traffic from the curb cut on Putnam Pike, and you may remember the plan that was previously approved, there was a crossroad from the curb cut at Putnam Pike through the site and exiting out onto Esmond Street, or entering from Esmond Street and exiting out into Putnam Pike. The traffic engineering now needs to be re-examined and presented to the planning department for their review and also for peer review.
So let me give you my correct word I'm going to use here. My experience a week ago Monday, Kettle Point. Within 1 hour, x-rays, seen a doc, walked out. Went back the following Monday and spent 14 and a half hours in the emergency room at Rhode Island Hospital. The math doesn't work. That orthopedic walk-in facility you have at Kettle Point is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
It's a great facility. There's actually 3 of them here in Rhode Island. We own a second one on South County Trail with an emergency walk-in facility, and another in Mansfield, Massachusetts. They're a great public benefit, and you're a perfect example.
Not me, but I was the Uber driver. Joel, do you have anybody else?
No, we'll talk about, I don't have questions about the residential piece.
Okay.
We can talk about that.
I think Councilman Ioannoni, you have a question about the residential piece?
What does that look like?
It's a great question. So we're doing the wetlands verification with DEM right now, and that will dictate what the building envelope is for those units. Ideally, it looks like a Kettle Point, you know?
Looks like what?
A Kettle Point type facility where
Oh, okay.
there's townhomes or whatever it is. But that the DEM piece of it will dictate what it looks like. What it's approved now is apartment buildings and townhomes. Whether it stays like that or if it's townhomes, you may see the number decrease. But we'll know, we're currently in that process with working with DEM scientists at the moment.
So would there be an alteration to what's already been approved, possibly?
The plan itself, yes. The final plan itself will be altered to show the medical facility, also all those front pieces, the commercial pieces will go away, the office uses. So you have the medical building roughly where the hotel is and it's a sketch in the ordinance, but where that purple building is here, and this is actually appended to the zoning ordinance. And then in the back piece will be some iteration of the residential up to the same amount of units allowed now.
How many residential were approved
124.
with the hotel?
124.
124 were already approved.
Yes, in the back
Right.
piece, which is where the residential will stay.
And that's what you're vested for right now.
Correct.
So you can't change that, is what you're saying? The
Right
residential
now-
units, if you go forward with the other original plan?
Right, so
Okay.
if we go forward with the original plan, it's 124 units.
Okay.
Allowed under the zoning ordinance. It's what we've proposed to carry through. What
Thank
it
you.
looks like may change from the existing approval, likely will change from the existing approval. But engineering that and the placement of those units will be done.
Thank
So,
you.
Joel, I just want to clarify this for the public, and I know the answer, but you're here on a zoning amendment, really just changing the use from the hotel and the daycare and the retail space to this medical use. The residential component, that 124, is already what you're zoned for, and you're not requesting a change at this time, correct?
There are some additional details
Right.
that we worked with the planner on, landscaping, things like that.
The number itself
The
of
number
units.
itself, there's no change to.
Okay, so I just want to be clear, no matter what happens regarding this amendment today, you're zoned for 120,
Right, if the
124.
amendment fails, the 124 units can still get built.
Now, for me, the biggest issue with this project is the residential component. I actually don't hate the medical facility. And the reason for that is because it's currently, without this amendment, like, you're asking actually for us to restrict you further, as you said in your memo, which I think is accurate.
Yep.
You could have built a hotel with a transient population that we've seen elsewhere in town. We've seen how hotels has affected Smithfield negatively. You could have built a daycare with drop-off times and pickup times and kids and recess and whatever. You could have built, I think, a box store at one point, like a Walmart or something, correct?
Yes.
Those were all, I know. Those were all originally what you were zoned to do, and you're currently zoned to do that.
Correct.
So you're here asking us to get rid of all that and
Correct.
allow for the medical facility.
Yeah, and that is only because you have users ready to go.
Right.
If you didn't, then we go back to, okay, what buyer wants this as zoned?
Right, and I want to put that perspective out, because I live literally on 65 Esmond Street. Like, this is my backyard. I want to be very, very clear. My neighbor, hello. This is my actual backyard. So I right now look at what me and my husband call the prairie. That's what we call it. We have nothing behind us. There's like foxes and stuff. That will not be the case any further. So I'm just as upset as everybody about something going behind me. But I don't say this because I have a special interest in this area, but I say this because I know this area really, really well. And there's problems in this area. The traffic's going to be a huge issue that you guys need to overcome at the planning board stage.
Absolutely.
And you know that. And there's a big flooding and drainage issue over there as well. I said this earlier today, but my backyard has been flooded twice. I only moved there like 2021. I got 2 feet of water twice, 2 feet. It flooded my entire basement. I lost my car totaled because I couldn't get it out because it was like underwater. Yearbooks, can't replace them, photos, and that was because the runoff from that Hawkins Brook in the wetlands came through, overflowed the brook, and then went onto my property on Esmond Street. Across, I believe, was flooded. So there's a lot of issues in that area. That being said, I'd much rather see a medical facility there than a Walmart and a hotel. Okay, so I want to put that in perspective for the people that are sitting here, and I had to put it in perspective for myself, because as a resident, I'm like, I don't like this project, I don't want this project, I don't want anything in my backyard, but it's kind of like, what do we do instead? I don't want a Smithfield Commons behind me, that's for sure. I don't want the hotels that are on Route 7 behind me. I don't want, love everyone's kids, but I don't want daycares behind me. So that's not the issue for me. The issue is the residential component. I know that you have talked about changing the LMI piece to some 55 plus. I think I would like to see more of that, if not all of that, to be 55 plus or 45 plus or whatever. I think age restricted would be really nice for a lot of reasons in our town. I don't believe you were here earlier, but our senior center director was here, and he said 21%, I think, was the number he used, is 65 plus in town. And then the 45 to 55 age range in town is our largest percentage. So we're going to have a big need for 55 plus or age restricted units in town. And I think that could also help open up homes for families who want to move into Smithfield and raise their kids here. Because right now we have, like he said, I think 21% living by themselves in homes. So that's one thing that I would love to see. And I don't know, Joelle, if you have authority today to lessen that 124 units, but I would ask you strongly to do that. I think our town cannot handle that number of units. And I understand that there's options to have more units, blah, blah, blah. We have 1,100 units coming into town already, but our schools cannot handle it. We just redid our schools in 2020, 2021. They're already maxed out again. We cannot handle the traffic in that area. I don't know if you would be prepared to make a promise today to reduce that those units to 100 or 75 even.
I can talk to my clients as the public speaks on this, on both those issues.
Because while we're sitting here amending this ordinance, I would love to amend the residential component as well to make sure we protect the neighbors and protect the area and protect our schools and our police and our fire. we can't restrict you guys forever. It's already been 20 years. We've been fending you off. But at some point, I think this is the best option that we've seen so far over the years. And because I live in the area, I've been following this development even before I was on the town council. Every time I walk my neighborhood, the first thing someone says to me when they open the door is, what's happening with Churchill and Banks? What's happening with Churchill and Banks? This is a big stressor that the neighborhood has. So, trying to work with us, I think would make a big difference. And that's kind of all I have to say right now. The only other thing I want to add was, I know someone mentioned that there was a fast track schedule. And I want to be very, very clear, our planning board is extremely thorough.
Yes.
And this will not be rushed.
Right. Fast track meaning we want to get our engineering, get on board. We want to talk to the planning department and planning board about getting peer review done sooner rather than later, is kind of what we mean on that. Like if we get the green light, the engineering, the engineers will be very busy.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to be clear that this will not be something that's pushed through the planning board because you guys have been around for a while.
We all
You've been there,
are
you know.
used to the planning board, yes.
So you don't
No
have, you don't
doubt.
have a green light, you have a yellow light.
We have a yellow, yes, green light from here, no light from
All
the planning board.
And there was some talk earlier about our comprehensive plan. And as you know, and I'm just kind of talking to the public as well, our planning board is tasked with following that comprehensive plan. Some things that that is being proposed, I think, in the housing component and in the medical component are going to be asking for variances, are going to be asking for other types of relief. If I do decide, and if the council decides to approve this amendment today, like, I just want to make sure the public is aware that those relief that the planning board process, the peer review process, the environmental studies, the permitting, the groundwater, the requirements for a safe neighborhood, all those things have to go through the process. This is not us giving the green light to this project and saying, yes, we like it, check the box, you're coming into town. This is just very, very early stages.
Mr. Manager.
Joel, just real quickly, just to reemphasize the sentiment of the Vice President. Our planning department's kind of been looking at what's going on in town. And we have two problems with folks who people who live in Smithfield like to stay in Smithfield.
Yes.
And we have two issues. We have a very long waiting list to get into elderly housing. And we have a lot of folks that can afford it, that are very interested in going in an age-restricted community. So just to re-stress the point, there is definitely a need out there. And it would open up some of those other homes that, families could naturally migrate in town. And the other problem we're finding, unfortunately, with folks who are staying in their homes, and as they're getting older and looking for those places to go, they're not maintaining their property like they used to be able to. And it's starting to create an unfortunate situation for our zoning department and our zoning officer to go out, and unfortunately, you need to cut the grass, you need to take care of this, and we don't like doing that, but it affects the community as well. So just to reiterate the sentiment of an age restricted community would be very good, for the town.
Anyone else? I'll continue the public hearing.
I have a comment, I have a statement, but I can make it a discussion if you
Okay.
prefer.
Thank you, Joel. Anyone else?
Charles Boyd, 14 Sprague Street. I want to thank council for bringing up, talking to the lawyer, putting her in place a little bit about demanding what she can get, what she can't get.
Charlie, it's not about putting anybody in their place. This is a collaborative
I
effort.
want to just say thank you for
Okay.
that. The main reason about the medical center to be looked into, is there going to be a physical therapy session in there? How big is that building going to be occupied, but what's going to be occupied? Second of all, I said this 3 years ago, 55 and older would help this town. I even talked to you about it or something like that, because it would let me sell my house. I got a 4-bedroom house that I don't use anymore, and I'd like to have a smaller place to go. So that would open up my house for somebody coming in, and then I would go to the 55. I've been saying this for a long time. So that's where it should go. That would help out, it would help out everything. And if you do look into this project, I understand the money that's needed and it will create. And if it has to be, it has to be. But please, do a traffic study that consists of from like 5 to 6, not 4 to 5. When I was on the board, I saw traffic studies done it when school was out, 4 to 5. The traffic problem in Smithfield is from 5 to 6. And I drive it all the time, we all drive here. I mean, you can't go down Greenville at 5:30, if you're on 44 or 5, you're dead for 45 minutes. Then maybe 6 o'clock it gets up, blah, 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 blah. But my point about it is the traffic study, put some rules into what it should be looked at.
Mr. Boyd, we're not doing that. All we're doing is a zone change. What you're asking us to do is not in our purview. That's the planning board's purview.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, that's the concern, that's what I'm saying, that we'd have.
Well, you have to bring your concerns to planning and zoning.
Okay. But-
Thank you.
David LaFredo, 280 Putnam Pike. I'm in favor of this development as it's been going on for like 25 years. It took almost 20 years, hundreds of thousands of dollars between the town and the developer to finally get this approved in late 2019. And then in March of 2020, the world shut down and we have a new environmental change. Then now they're coming back with a different plan, which I think will serve the town with a Class A medical center and needed housing both in the town and in the state. This development will generate tens of thousands of dollars in needed tax revenue. And also I know that the traffic will come up, and there are two main reasons for the heavy traffic on 44 and Esmond Street. The state decided to close the Greystone Bridge early in 2020 due to needed repairs. It was DOT's replacement cost of $20 million, and then they decided to do a traffic study in the middle of the pandemic, which was not really a good time to do a traffic study for the bridge, and they felt that the bridge was not needed. It is my understanding that Johnston and North Providence citizens want the bridge to be reopened, and I believe as Smithfield's seen new traffic on Esmond Street, they're in favor of the Greystone Bridge to be open too. For what I understand, DOT was going to demo the bridge, and they were going to do a walking bridge, which they were going to spend about $5 million. So from, again, what I understand, DOT is willing to give the towns, whether it be North Providence, Johnson, Smithfield, the $5 million towards the rebuild of the Greystone Bridge. And the town would have to take over ownership of the bridge because DOT doesn't want anything to do with it after that. Also, I traveled Esmond Street for the last 43 years. That's why I go home, that's why I come to work. In the last couple of years with the traffic that's going on, so I clock the traffic from when I take the left on Esmond Street from the gas station, so you're watching it go down. When you cross over Esmond Street to Dean Street, and you get over the hump, you can actually see where the traffic is going. 7 out of 10 cars are taking a right on Putnam Pike. So to me, that's telling me that they're bypassing the Senate area because the Senate area is a total mess. So let's see. Okay, so the second thing, and this is the most important thing that everybody needs to realize about traffic. And it's not about Smithfield, it's not about 44, it's about traffic. Back in my day, family, we had one car, and like when we were 16 years old, my stepfather bought my mother a car. We had 2 cars. Today, you have 5 adults in a house, and you have 5 cars in a house. So this is the problem. We have a lot of cars. So to solve the traffic problem, in the state, we need to give up some of our cars because the traffic has nothing to do with our development.
Excuse me. Excuse me, aren't you a used car dealer?
Absolutely.
That's what I thought.
No, we're all kidding aside. I mean, that's part of the problem, why there's so much traffic throughout the state, throughout the town. I mean, that's just how it is.
So I just want to reiterate something so everybody knows. We're in the process right now of trying to get federal money to redo that bridge.
I know that.
All right, if we're lucky enough to get it, there'll be a lot less traffic.
Absolutely.
because people will be able to use the bridge.
Absolutely.
So we're all crossing our fingers, hoping that we get the funding that we need to open that bridge again. It'll mitigate a lot of headaches if we get it, but go ahead.
As you see, I mean, I pay attention to this, and I know what you guys are doing, and I know what the towns are doing. I know what the residents of North Providence and Johnson complained about it. And so it's just become a major cut-through, and it's just how it is. They're going to go somewhere. But people have to understand that development isn't the problem. It's just the cars. Everybody has cars. We have the same million residents in the state of Rhode Island for the last 50 years, give or take a few.
Now, let Mr. Laredo speak.
We have the same million residents in this state for the last 50 years. The only thing that's changed in the last 50 years, everybody has cars. And that's the problem. That's the traffic problem. So that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Kenneth Souza, 2 Williams Road, Smithfield. So 2 compliments if you want them. Okay. I figured I had to write them down.
You need orthopedic
Big
help.
appreciation for the man over to the left. I think he's the best DPW guy in the world, but that's one comment. And I also want to do a shout out to the police and to DPW as well. Working with the police, we are going to work on data. We're helping them with their traffic enforcement. So they've been awesome with me. So I was trying to figure out where to do this. This was originally supposed to be for the planning board, but 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. And I was sitting there for the first thing, and I'm trying to figure out where to do it. I'm going to reiterate some comments, but I think we're making decisions without looking forward. And I'm going to give you those decisions today. I didn't know enough about, but I appreciate Councilwoman Bovis. You taught me a lot about the first part, which we did a while ago, and also this one. I don't think I'm against this development. I too am worried about, and I read all the articles about Smithfield Commons. I have them all. There's a blog article about it. It gives a historical reference of how it went to the council and then it wasn't approved. You can go look at that someday if you want. It's like, that blog article is like two years old. Before I get into something else, I wrote another article. The mixed use of 55 and over is key. The fastest and the largest growth of real estate cost is 1 floor. Now, we probably can't do that there, but the 55 and older is a key. I would like to see, and I brought this up years ago, I'd like to see us do 55 and older, but also on the bottom floor, do mixed use. We need to create more community. That's what we've lost, unfortunately, in our society, is to have the coffee shops and the other things, and that way people could be a little mobile without having to get in a car. To go to the specific things, this is the unknown thing that is happening, and it's kind of kicking the can down the road, then it's going to blow, and here's what's going to happen. So forgive me, I'm getting a little practice, 36 hours, I start doing this again. So there are 2 types of costs, fixed and variable. Fixed doesn't matter how many widgets you produce, your costs are fixed. There's variable, you produce more widgets, you need more labor, materials, and so on. So far, the problem that we are doing right now is infrastructure. I agree with the gentleman that people have talked about traffic is terrible. We are drivers, but that's another issue for another time. It's our sewer, our water. And maybe Gene will even say roads, but we'll let him do that. He's better at that than I am. So what happens is variable costs are linear. Fixed costs in infrastructure are step. So I'm not going to ask you, this is not a quiz, but I don't know what our water and sewer infrastructure limit is right now, the utilization. You usually plan for 80%, so you have some wiggle room. Adding a new house isn't going to change those infrastructures. Adding a building or dorm, adding anything is not going to change it a lot. But you start putting in these major elements and you don't keep track of that clock, you will have a huge bill on your hands. And the problem is you won't have time to think about it. You're going to have to do it. So as you know, I do my research. The water costs of infrastructure could be anywhere between $50 and $200 million. Here's my research, two pages. You can have a copy if you want, and how to do it. The bigger problem is our sewer system, and we found this out during the budget hearings. You guys have loaned the money. So they're already in trouble as it is now. So they're behind the 8 ball. So there will be a tipping point at some point in time where we start adding all of these buildings and large complexes. I think I appreciate more than ever the 5 of you and what you're trying to do, or you can't do, because the system is tilted. I think all 5 of you have heard from you on the record. It's tilted against us. I didn't come to Smithfield 22 years ago to deal with this. I have to deal with something right across the street from me, which you will see the problems that are going to happen once that is fully implemented. And we've said it a number of times. But here's the issue, is we ultimately got to start looking at, we have a bond issue that was approved, and we haven't drawn down $1. That's still hovering over us. Okay, do you understand? There are things that are hovering over us that do the fiscal infrastructure of what our budget is about. And that's what I'm trying to get across to all of you, is that it costs millions of dollars to do this. You just can't snap your fingers, add another labor item, and get things processed faster. You can't do that, especially, bonding and all of that stuff. Interest rates probably will be going down. That's my guess. But I am imploring you to have, if you can't do anything about this, I understand. I really, really do, except if all the other towns get up and go to the State House and maybe we outnumber the 5 cities. I'm not sure if that will ever happen. But the point is, you 5 are going to be on the hook for a major infrastructure upgrade very soon. I predict within 3 to 6 years. That's going to hurt the rest of us, including me, because I'm probably not going to pay my fair share of the infrastructure when I already am using the infrastructure, if you get what I'm saying. The new developments are not going to do that. I don't know much about impact fees. Councilman Iannati knows a lot more about them than I'll ever know. But ultimately, at the end of the day, these new developments have to start paying their fair share because their year 1 taxes are not helping that bond issue and the payment of that bond issue. That's something to think about. And I implore you to do that. And I also have to appreciate all of you. I have a big analysis on the municipal court. It will be available very soon. But you've encouraged me. I built a case on legal issues and associated issues with municipal courts. It'll be published in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Better send me that.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Never shied away from a microphone. Again, Matthew Fay from 247 Old County Road. You guys have a lot of work to do. I said this to the planning board last week. I don't envy you, but we do have competent people up here. Great presentation. I'm glad we have somebody like that can produce that type of information. The over 55 thing, probably a bonus if we can do that. Again, you're not the planning board, but I know you guys have to discuss this tonight. The medical facility, probably the best fit for there. Right now, it's a terrible eyesore. When you drive through there, it looks like the never land. But as far as the housing, I know the deputy chief is here, but I know other housing developments in town. When you build more closer together, it just creates more problems. If you put a 55 and older community there, I don't think you're going to have those problems. And as far as the gentleman with the medical building, right? You might have families bringing their kids there on a Saturday or Sunday, but then you have 2 or 3 Smithfield police cars going with the quell a disturbance in one of the other units. How many LMI units are going to be there? Again, it's 295 and Route 44. Cars coming on, cars trying to get on all hours of the day. No sidewalks. It's lit pretty well for the most part. But as far as if you put regular housing over there, where some people may have to start walking, public transportation, they're going to walk all the way down Esmond Street. I'm not in favor of having an entrance or an exit on Esmond Street. That's going to exasperate the problem tenfold. In a talk of possibly a traffic light at Esmond Street, there's no way you're going to be able to time that and time 44 at the same time. Their traffic studies, again, I agree with whoever said, come at the different hours and check it, not what they call peak hours, because again, they choose to use the lower data. Peer review is going to have a tough job to do on the traffic side. But 55 and older, better fit for their medical facility. University Orthopedics, I take it without saying it. I go there, great practice. I go to Kettle Point. I was at South County Commons yesterday, my son's birthday. We went down there for pizza. That's a nice development. And the way it's designed, you can't really speed through the plazas there. Mixed-use development, not so much housing, but there is housing in the back. It's calm and it's peaceful when you go in there. It's not like driving in the Commons. So I think that's possibly a good fit, how you tend to tweak it and how much they're willing to move a little bit. I'm sure there's some common ground that everybody can get to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. President. Paul Santucci, 10 Appletown Road. I think it's important that my comments are taken strictly and only as a town resident in this matter. I'm just wondering if there's been any thought or discussion of having RIDOT go to that intersection now of Esmond Street and Route 44, and just having them take a look at the existing traffic, the flow, the number of accidents, et cetera, because I think that would maybe paint a picture of what you could then see in the future. So, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. Anyone else? Last but not least.
He was hiding.
Good evening. Tom Hodgkins, 200 Putnam Pike. The decision before you tonight does involve an engineering review, a traffic review, safety review, fiscal review, all of those things, and it sounds like the council has been provided none of that tonight. Am I correct that the council has not been provided anything in that regard other than what's in the public packet that was provided?
That's correct.
You are correct. The last time that this issue, or one of the last times that it came up about 10 years ago, those reports were all provided for analysis before the zoning ordinance was considered. There was a fiscal impact study, there was a traffic study, there was engineering study, there was technical study. The council needs that because your assessment of the amendment to the zoning ordinance is based on the conditions today, not based on anything else. And this is proposing to put that process backwards. For you to approve an amendment to a zoning ordinance that may or may not be appropriate and may or may not be in the interest of public safety and general welfare because you haven't been provided with the information to determine whether that's the case. You also haven't been provided with the information to determine whether the impacts of this project are consistent with our comprehensive plan. Our comprehensive plan has I think eight categories of goals or 7 goals, 26 different policies. I don't see that we've seen an analysis anywhere of those 26 different policies in the comprehensive land use plan. And that includes by the planning board. I've reviewed, the meeting that the planning board reviewed this. There's about a half a page, maybe 3/4 of a page of minutes from that meeting. I don't see anywhere where those 26 policies in the comprehensive land use plan were considered by the planning board. And I think that if what you're going to do tonight is consider whether this zoning ordinance is appropriate, I think you need to go through all of those and put that on the record and determine whether or not you have the information to make that determination at this point. Has the council received any report from the planning department with regards to this proposal?
No.
So at the planning board, the town planner told the planning board that the planning board would look at this application favorably. What is that based on? The council hasn't received anything, right? No. Is there anyone here from the planning board who can speak to the planning board's assessment? So I don't know why the planning board I don't know why the town planner is taking a position on a project without any basis for it and without conveying that to the council. There's been no analysis there. We have no idea how the planning department arrived at that. And without that, I don't think you can make a decision on this tonight. There's also been talk of what could be done at the property. Back in 2014, this council was advised by its prior solicitor that the vesting period for a project was 2 years. And if nothing had been done in 2 years, that the zoning was open to being changed by the council if the council thought that was appropriate. So this project was approved in 2020. I understand that there's been some extensions, but I think the council should be advised to know what its options are with regards to changing the underlying zoning if the current conditions merit that, because the current conditions are much different than they were in 2014 or 2013 or 2020. And if the council thought it was appropriate that a zone change in the underlying zoning may be appropriate, then the assumptions that are made on what can be done there are not necessarily correct. So I think the council should have that advice before it makes a decision here. We've talked many times at the council in the past year and tonight about the costs of the development that's been mandated by a majority of the state legislature, what those costs are on the towns, what those costs are on the people of Smithfield. It's infrastructure, it's schools, results in increase in taxes, and also problems with development. We have issues with developments in town that taxpayers are paying for. The council has allocated, hundreds of thousands of dollars to study those problems that have been left to the town by developers. Developers have taken off, taken the profit, and the town of Smithfield is now left with problems. It's unclear to me whether those problems are caused by either a lack of review or a lack of enforcement, but I haven't seen anything by the administration to get to the bottom of why that happened. And if we can't get to the bottom of why it happened, we can't prevent it from happening again. And that's why that review needs to take place before zoning amendments like the one before you are voted on. I want to speak about the traffic for a minute. You don't have any current traffic plan in front of you from the applicant. What you do have is testimony from everybody here who says traffic there is horrible. I think that's based on the common sense of what everybody has. Back when this project, at one iteration of it, the town commissioned a traffic and impact study in July of 2013. At that point, that study said there are traffic operational and safety issues that exist. It said that any major development of the site will substantially increase traffic on portions of the roadways. That's just common sense. We all know that. That was 2013. What's the condition now in 2025? It's a lot worse. I'll tell you my experience. A couple weeks ago, I left my house around 5 o'clock to drive down toward 44. I came to the intersection of Old County Road and Esmond Street. Traffic heading north away from Route 44 was completely stopped from the intersection at Esmond Street to 44. As I traveled south toward 44, the traffic stopped about halfway between that intersection in my direction and 44. Traffic in the other direction on Esmond Street is still solid from the intersection to 44. When I got up to the intersection with 44, traffic heading westbound was pretty much stopped from there to the crossing. I could see that traffic in the eastbound direction was stopped from around the area of the crossing down to the intersection with Esmond Street. I could also see that both on and off ramps to and from 295 were completely jammed. This area of town is complete gridlock, and adding the number of units and the number of businesses here is only going to make that worse. It's not the right place for this site. As I was sitting on 44, trying to make my way west, first an ambulance came by, and then a fire truck came by, both trying to take a left turn on Esmond Street. They had nowhere to go. traffic was totally stopped in both directions. And it wasn't because of an accident. I didn't see any accident. There are too many cars there for there to be any feasible traffic plan. And I expect that's why you don't have a traffic plan in front of you. You don't have engineering plans in front of you. You don't have a fiscal impact study in front of you for 2025, because the applicant doesn't want to provide that to you now because it wouldn't be favorable. This is not the right place for this kind of development. Council and the planning board have heard other, assumptions about what might be done there, whatever it might be. We've got to make the right decision for the town. You've got to make the right decision for the town based on what's appropriate. And regardless of whatever that may bring in the future. And, if we have to fight for that, then we have to fight for that. Because I think if you don't fight for things like this, we're not going to have anything left to fight for in the town. Thank you.
Frank Ritchie, 14 Carrion Drive. I am formerly from Johnston, and when Amazon came in, we had all our meetings. They had a traffic plan already set before they even showed up. How it was going to flow, because that was the biggest thing, getting off 295 to get into Amazon. There was only 2 lanes. Now there's 3, and there's other traffics. I fail to understand why this applicant hasn't done the proper research before spending all this money that they have already on this without knowing how we're going to get into the area. Everybody in Smithfield knows that is the worst area on the planet to get on, especially coming off 295 and getting on 44, taking the right, headed towards North Providence. That's gridlock over there. And if you want to get off, you have to get all the way to the far right-hand side. And you know what? That area that collects the cars to take that first left, it's impossible. And now you start backing up on the highway. I was in the middle of that last time. I actually pulled over right to the side of the girders just to let somebody go by while we're waiting at that red light. So I think it's very irresponsible for the applicants to come forward with this without thinking about how the people are going to get into this building and how they're going to get out. Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing.
Hold on, before you do.
Oh, sorry, Joelle.
Just to quickly respond, I think there's some confusion about procedurally where we are. So let me be clear, the existing approval got a DOT permit. And what occurred then, because I was there at DOT, was in the room, we had a DOT approval. We went and we met with the town's peer review engineer. This is after we had the approval in hand. And we met with the DOT engineers and the heads of DOT. And we talked about what else could be done. So the existing approval has infrastructure improvements related to it, additional lanes, things like that, that was already approved. So we're not dropping out of the sky to say we have no idea what's going to happen. The existing approval is a right in, right out on Esmond. That's with infrastructure improvements. There is an approved plan. We're not coming in saying, oh, we have no idea what's going to happen.
When was this plan approved?
2020.
5 years ago.
Yes, that's correct. And we're not coming in, let me be clear, that's what can be built. We're going to update those. We've been talking to DOT. There's additional development across the street, Ms. Lafredo's, that's been talking to DOT. We're at a process where we're allowed statutorily to come ask for this zoning ordinance amendment, and we're statutorily allowed to amend the final plan. We're pulling a fast one. We talked at the beginning to say, this is stop one. We still have to go to the planning board. We still have to engage peer reviewers for the town. We still have to finish our state permits. We could show you all the traffic reports in the universe. What the council's gonna do with that, I don't know. But this use, the medical facility use is already allowed. It's now allowed in this iteration that allows some buy-in for this buyer to say, I'm going to go spend the money and fully engineer this. The residential units are allowed. We can talk about those in a little bit. But I am, to say procedurally, oh, we're here and suddenly we're going to build tomorrow after we get out of here is, we went through this already. And I think that's, to have people stand up here and take the public down that road when we set that tone early to know that there's a stop and there's a public hearing and there's engineering on
But this
all
is,
sides.
this is your last stop here, though.
This is our last stop in the council, but the
Right.
council doesn't approve traffic studies and all of that sort. The planning board will engage a peer review engineer sooner rather than later, we hope.
I
to go-
understand
To
that.
go through the process. So that's how we're here. How it happened the last time is because we were at master plan at the same time we came into the council. I was there. So that's how that worked. There's nothing wrong with this process, and that's where we are. So happy to talk about details on the residential piece. If there are any questions on the medical facility piece, we can go from there.
Any other questions? Hearing none.
Attorney,
Oh.
sorry, 2 questions. I want to make sure the public understands our job here tonight versus the planning board's job tonight. I think somebody that commented recently in the public hearing maybe was confused. All those studies that we're that we don't have, the planning board gets and reviews and approves the project. Again, we are not approving any project tonight. I want to be very, very clear about that. My second question is, were you able to speak with your client? Can you make a promise to us today that you're able to lessen the housing component?
So correct me if I'm wrong, you had 2 questions, right there, which I don't know if they're independent of each other or what. So I think it's kind of a sliding scale if we're talking about age restricted and number of units total. So we did talk, we can go existing 124, we can go to 30% of age restricted. To lower the units, the age restricted percentage would come down, but we can have that discussion.
Can you repeat what you just said?
At the proposal, one of them, is to keep the 124 units at 30% age restricted.
And right now you're at 10, correct?
We're at 10. So
Okay.
that 10 and 10, 10 affordable, 10 age restricted would turn into 30% age restricted. I want the council to know that this type of development, similar to Kettle Point, should the engineering turn out, Kettle Point has 0 children. So they are age, and we've seen this in a couple other developments, they are age targeted. But the age restricted component comes with it some construction requirements that will dictate how those units are designed and constructed. So while they're likely going to be, there's the need there for age targeted, they're likely all going to go that way, given how these types of developments have been in the past. But I think that's the proposal to you. If we're lessening the number of units, which we can have that discussion, then I think the age restricted component would have to come down.
I mean, you hear everybody in town saying how important it is. The age issue is not about Kettle Point or whatever. That's not the reason why I think I'm asking for some type of age restriction. It's the resources in town that are going to be strained and the need of our residents.
No, I'm saying this type of development doesn't lend itself to a family. If it's built as we want to build it, depending on the wetlands, you're talking kind of a townhouse development that doesn't have the space and the things that bring in families. I'm using Kettle Point as an example because it's both those uses at the same site, and that's resulting in 0 children.
I understand.
Just anecdotally putting it out
Understood.
there.
So you're unable to commit to us today to lower the number of units, regardless of the age restriction issue?
I think we can lower the units to 100 and go with 20% age restricted
And that's something that you can stand by.
today.
Or you can make it a condition of any approval, it would be one of the conditions of the approval, if that's the way the council decides to go.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you and your client making that decision so quickly. I know we're only talking about 24 units. Obviously, we're going to go through the process further with the planning board, but, you know, that some good faith effort on your end goes a long way, and we appreciate that.
Yep, we heard your comments loud and clear, so we appreciate
you.
the council's time on this.
Thank you for doing that.
Take it, Joel.
Just one thing, Frank Ritchie, 14 Carrion Drive. I was at all of the Amazon meetings. When they came to town, they had pictures, they had, we're gonna do this, we think we're gonna do this, this
Who's
is what we
they?
want to do.
Mr. Ritchie, that's the planning board, I believe,
Right,
that
I
you're
understand
referring
that, but if
to.
you want to win the confidence of the town council and the confidence of the residents, have something to show us what's going on, to convince us.
And that was an entirely different process, and I will tell you, Amazon got approved and was designed in 6 months.
Right.
So, that would be like us starting from scratch, saying, okay, approve everything. Of course, we'd have everything done before you, because we get full approvals, 3 stages, and your approval in 6 months, so.
Thank you.
But that's a different process than we're in front of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to close the public hearing. Councilwoman?
Mr. President, at this point, I would like to make a motion to approve the zoning amendment with the condition of the units, the number of units being amended to, I mean, what would be the proper, 100 units with 20%. Was it affordable, Attorney Rocha, or what did you say, age restricted? Okay.
It'd be reduced, so
So-
the number of units would go from under the existing ordinance from 124 units down to 100, 20% of those units being age restricted.
Got that, Lynn? Okay, that would be my motion. And again, I would like to thank the applicant, I guess both applicants, but specifically the residential applicant for, before any of the planning board stages or anything, reducing by, I guess, 25 units,
24 units.
24 units.
Any more discussion?
Yes, Mr. President, a brief statement for the council's consideration. I just want to share a few comments and questions sent to me by a constituent who could not be here this evening. I will then add my own brief remarks. I know we've been here quite a while. 8 questions in his own words. By rezoning, is the town setting themselves up for other developers coming forward to request rezoning in the town for other projects? 2, the medical and health service hospital is a stretch. With the deficit of doctors in the state and many practices consolidating offices, what guarantee does the town have that this building will be occupied by tenants? Example, Anchor Medical Group. The salaries for medical professionals in Rhode Island are low compared to neighboring states. 3, in the town comprehensive plan, there were concerns about infrastructure being able to handle expansion. Can the town absorb increased sewer, gas, water, and electrical usage? 4, I don't see any impact studies on this new proposal. 5, how is the town going to protect itself from the developer potentially going bankrupt like the Clark Road drainage project that the town is now expending money on? 6, is the developer seeking a tax break from the town? Where is the potential funding coming from? 7, in reviewing the town's comp plan, the area in question has several wetlands on the property. It also notes a 100-year flood zone parallel to Route 295. There is also a Sebel, pronouncing that wrong, pond dam in the area. 8, the development is seeking minor changes to the parking, landscaping, etc. If the proposed changes, is there a specific document that shows the proposed revisions that could affect the rezoning approval? My bottom line is that there are many unknowns to this project to make a rushed decision on rezoning. Once again, those are his words, not mine. Now for my brief remarks, once again, I'd like to know why this
Who said that? You have a name?
constituent,
You don't have a name?
doesn't matter.
I'm just asking.
For the record.
Should be on the record.
I mean, I don't know if he wants his name on the record, he just sent it to me, so. You don't know. Anyways, once again, I'd like to know why this zone change is needed if the applicant can achieve the goal of constructing a medical facility without it. I will add that I'm not at all against a medical facility, although the constituent does make a good point about the reality of healthcare in the state. The traffic on Esmond Street, as we all know, is horrendous. This has been brought up a million times. To add insult to injury, the state does not properly maintain this road. Potholes galore and the sidewalks, it's a mess. Surely they will initially take care of the roads, should a proposal be approved, but will they keep it up based on the past and current state of said road? This is doubtful. And I do want to thank Rep. Constantino. I've been in contact with him. He's here, as we all know, to try to put some pressure on the DOT. I'll leave you with this. The overwhelming majority of feedback I've received is negative. I've spoken to constituents all across town, not just in Esmond, and they do not feel this is a good area for high-density housing, planned development district or not. And I do want to echo Vice President Bovis's comments that I do appreciate the good faith efforts regardless in you trying to amend your plan. And I do support housing for 55 plus. However, residents in general just do not want more high-density development. I understand that developers develop, it's what they do, they have the right to do it. However, the gradual evisceration of our local zoning by our state legislature is ruining our town if we've had enough of it. So for the reasons of not having enough information at this stage, coupled with resident feedback, I cannot support this proposal. Thank you.
I have to disagree. It's not that we don't have enough information. We have pretty much no information. Michael Moans, member of the planning board, I have the transcript here, and he's probably the longest-serving member of the planning board. He has a lot of planning experience. Stated that the applicant is proposing an amendment to zoning with not a lot of engineering or design done, and this seems like a big ask of the town. So we don't know what this building will look like. We don't know where the entrance is going to be, where the exit's going to be. Now, I know that a lot of that is the function of the planning board, but I don't think you should come before the town council and ask for a zone change with nothing. I'm not saying you have to have it fully developed and full engineering, but this is virtually nothing. As Mr. Hodgkin stated, we don't have anything here. And so I don't see how anyone could vote for this zone change. And I'd like to see, if it does not pass, that we have some kind of negotiation with the developer to reduce the number of units. 124 is too many units, 100 is too many units. It's a very congested area. There's already too much traffic there. So we're going to just make it worse? That doesn't make any sense to me. And, our function, we're the elected officials of the town. Our function is to look at what's in the best interest of the town. A medical facility would be nice. I think it would be great for the town. But I think the cost in terms of traffic and just a lack of design here, I think that the cost would be too great.
All right, we have a motion, we have a second.
Mr. President, if I may, these decisions, Councilman Ioannoni and Councilwoman Toppy, are extremely short-sighted, extremely. You understand what's currently approved to go there is literally a Walmart, a hotel, a daycare. That's what's currently approved to go there. By voting no on this amendment, you're saying, I'm okay with those uses and I'm not okay with the medical facility. That's what voting no on this does. And I want to be very, very clear to the public that voting no on this amendment approves virtually by compliance that you're okay with a hotel and a daycare and a box store and retail stores going in that area, because that's what's allowed there right now. And as for the residential component, that's not even on the table tonight. So I just want to be very, very clear to everybody what's happening here and what this amendment is actually doing, because this is helping residents. I don't want anything there either. I made that very, very clear, but I definitely would rather have a medical facility with low traffic, quiet, in and out types of, population than a Walmart and a daycare. Thank you.
Respectfully, what you said is completely false.
it's false
That
that
is
that's allowed in the current
not what I'm
zoning?
saying. I'm not okay with a Walmart. I'm not okay with all that stuff you just said. I don't appreciate you putting words in my mouth. I have to listen to the residents. They don't want it, along with the lack of information. I mean, it's really that simple. Like I said, I'm not against 55-plus housing or medical facility in general. I don't have enough information, et cetera. I'm not going to repeat myself, but I had to clarify the record because that is totally false what you just said.
Voting no on the request to put a medical facility in is by compliance approving the other uses. That's a fact.
That's false.
It's not.
Motion
Well,
made and second.
I've been to a lot of planning board meetings. I try to go to all of them. And I wish I had a nickel for every time a developer comes before the planning board and says, if you don't approve this, we're going to build something worse. So I think that I'm not going to fall for that one this time.
It's approved, Mike. It's approved, allowed use, period.
Okay, let's call the vote. All in favor? Aye. Nays?
Nay.
Ayes have it, 3-2. Item number 9, licenses. Consider, discuss the act upon approving a mobile food truck license for Jordan Ice Cream, DBA Jordan Ice Cream, to sell frozen treats from a truck, Rhode Island registration number 1QW995, 1401 Warwick Avenue, apartment 321, Warwick, Rhode Island, as applied and subject to compliance with all regulations and local ordinances. Lynn, are we all set with that? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Have a second. All in favor? Aye. Nays? Ayes have it. Under new business, there's no older business. Consider that, discuss the act upon authorizing a disability pension for fire department employee. Chief?
Yes, I'm going to speak. Yes, so as was, you've been briefed on this particular individual, Lieutenant Starkey, has been out for quite a while, had surgery, has reached maximum medical improvement due to a ligament injury, and has been approved. His doctor has signed off a maximum medical improvement, so has the interlocal trust, who's our insurer, and he's requesting a disability pension from the fire department.
Okay, any questions from the council? I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Item B, consider, discuss, act upon authorizing the police department to purchase 3 fully equipped police vehicles through the Greater Boston Police Council bid from Colonial Municipal Group of Plymouth, Massachusetts, with the emergency equipment from the Island Tech Services of Warren, Rhode Island, in the amount of $161,459.26, financed through the Town of Smithfield Capital Lease Fund.
Good evening. Mike Smith, Deputy Chief of the Police Department, is here tonight requesting authorization from the council for the police department to purchase the 3 vehicles, again, through the Colonial Municipal Group out of Plymouth, Massachusetts, on $161,459.26 to the Greater Boston Police Council bid. Again, it will be financed through the Town Capital Lease Fund with funds from the Police Equipment Fund.
Any questions of the chief?
Chief, I have a question. What is the mentality behind the pickup truck use? And I ask that because I'm getting questions. We have one, seen around town, working. So if you just give me some information so I can speak intelligently.
So the pickup truck is a police pursuit package on the vehicle. It gives the department a versatile vehicle. For example, if you find some lost property, some found property, bicycles, we can use it for that. If we have parades, we're able to throw barricades in the back. Instead of using our maintenance pickup truck that has no emergency lighting on it, we use the flashing hazards back in, several years ago. This gives us a vehicle. This is a police pursuit vehicle that gives us the capabilities to do many more things than a typical SUV police vehicle allows you to do.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And I believe that's worked out very well so far.
Fantastic, yes.
Are these replacing current vehicles that we have, or are these
These are
additional?
replacing 3 other vehicles.
Can you, do you have any information on the 3 vehicles?
I do. So there's a 2013 Ford Fusion with 146,000 plus miles on it. 2013 Ford Fusion with 109 plus thousand miles on it, and a 2017 Ford Interceptor, which is basically an Explorer with 115 plus thousand miles on that.
Are those vehicles in, like, disrepair or something, or is it just?
At this point, they're getting to the point where they're not safe for everyday usage,
Why?
based on the mileage on them, the years on them. I mean,
They usually have more hours than.
yeah, so a typical police car, so like the Explorer, for example, with 115,000 miles on it, it's probably triple that, the actual wear and tear on the engine based on idle time. A lot of times we're sitting doing traffic posts, sitting in areas as a presence. So it's not just the mileage of a typical vehicle of driving back and forth, the wear and tear on the vehicle sitting there. And they get to a point, a lot of departments get rid of vehicles when they have under 100,000 miles on them. We try to keep them as long as we can to get the best use out of them.
So do you sell the vehicles, or like what's happening to those 3 vehicles that are going?
So some of them will get, historically, will get moved down to either a spare vehicle, so it's not full-time use, or a civilian traffic vehicle. You'll see some of our civilian employees, retired officers who work details, you'll see it says traffic on it. So some of those vehicles are just basically driven to a detail site, so they have emergency lighting, and they sit there in a park. They're not in the condition to be used in case there was a pursuit or responding with lights and sirens or emergency calls.
Okay, so what's happening with these specifically? Do you know, or is that more just like a general, what you may do with them?
Well, so the Explorer will be put into a spare vehicle, so it won't
Okay.
be used. And the 2 Fusions will be put down into spare detective vehicles.
And when they finally put everything out of service, we do the same for fire, police, and DPW. We put them on Gov Deals, which is a national sales network that government agencies use, and we get some pretty good money for them. But this is when it, like, at the very end, that they can be used.
And I know we've been here all night, and I'm not trying to like make this longer, but I've been getting a lot of questions, because we just did the budget recently, and money's tight everywhere, and I've been getting some questions from residents about police always having new vehicles, always purchasing new vehicles. I support safety, obviously, and needing new vehicles. I just want to make sure that we're purchasing vehicles when we need them, not when we want them.
Yes, so going back several years, I can't remember off the top of my head, but a few years, we did not purchase vehicles. And then we got into a problem where there was, at one point, we had to take 10 vehicles out of service at one point based on their age and wear and tear, and that, if we came to the council at that point and would have to ask for 10 vehicles at this kind of price, it's an exorbitant amount. We try to keep the fleet. Every year, we do get several new vehicles. That's just, our vehicles are running all the time. You need to have safe vehicles for police officers who are responding to emergency calls for service. So we do get new vehicles, and we swap out the older vehicles that are not safe for daily use.
Chief, vehicles get hit.
That happens. Vehicles, people are on details or on a motor vehicle accident, people hit cruisers. Officers get in accidents responding to calls for service. So you can never tell what you're going to get with how long for a vehicle. If you need a brand new vehicle, we've had those get totaled out, and then we have to come and ask the council to replace that vehicle. But it's not, you don't just go to a dealership and say, we'll take that one, and then you walk off the lot with the vehicle. A lot of times you take up to 6 months to get the vehicle actually on the road based on the upfit and get in line for them to fit the vehicle up.
Is that the case with these? You think there's like a little bit of a lag time?
I've been here for 28 years and been in charge of the fleet for almost 6 years now. And this is probably the best time turnaround. We try to get vehicles that are on the road. One of the vehicles that we're getting the Chevy Silverado is an actual 2024 leftover, so we're saving the town. They couldn't give me an exact number because the pricing for 26s haven't come out yet. but we're saving the town thousands of dollars by purchasing a leftover Silverado pickup truck instead of waiting and ordering a 2026.
Thank you.
Also, keep in mind that the ticket fund pays the lease off.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
I'm
just
just
so you know
making sure
that.
we need to buy these vehicles.
I just want to make sure you know.
And I
what the
appreciate you having the, like, information on the old vehicles ready to go. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Welcome.
Deputy Chief, just to confirm in the budget, this is under, the Tahoes are under the 4 other vehicles that are listed there, correct? Because it lists 2 or 3, 2023 Tahoes, and obviously these are not that. These are 25s. So would those go under the 4 vehicles in the last line? I don't have it in front of me, but,
I'm not sure which last.
Well, I have it here.
all right.
We're supposed to be allowed 4 new police vehicles. So I'm,
Budget.
so in the budget, 4 new
Those
ones.
3.
So these are 2. These are 2 new ones.
These are 3
Three.
new ones. There's 2 Tahoes and a Silverado.
Well, the Silverado, is that new? It's a 24.
It's a leftover, it's been sitting on the lot, it's never been used
Okay.
before, it's a leftover vehicle.
So that's one of the 4 vehicles
One of
in
them.
the
We're
capital, in the capital budget for the police department?
Correct, but we're only actually purchasing 3 vehicles. We're not gonna
Right.
purchase 4.
And so over how many years? It says payment 1 of 4, so these are paid over 4
This
years
will be a 4-year, yes, payback.
for all of them?
Correct.
So this year, it will cost probably less than 60,000 because it was based on 4 vehicles, so be under 60,000 a year.
The actual annual installment will be $61,533.17 with the actual
How much?
$61,533.17
For this year?
for the each, there'll be 4 installment payments of that, yes.
Because, okay, well, so you're not going to get the 4th vehicle then?
No.
Because you budgeted for approximately 60.
Correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more discussion? I'll entertain a motion. Second.
Second.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Nays? Ayes have it. Item C, consider the act upon authorizing the police department to purchase emergency equipment for 3 police vehicles through the Greater Boston Council bid from Island Tech Services of Warren, Rhode Island, the amount of $84,673.40 and financed through the town of Smithfield Capital Lease Fund with the funds available in the Police Equipment Fund.
Thank you. Yes, requesting authorization from the council for us to purchase the emergency equipment for these vehicles, the 3 new vehicles that would get installed by Island Tech Services, Warren, Rhode Island, an amount of $84,673.40 through the Greater Boston Police Council bid, financed through the Town of Smithfield Capital Lease Fund with funds that are in our Police Equipment Fund.
Any questions of the chief? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion. I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Item D, consider, discuss, and act upon adopting a resolution authorizing the finances of the purchases of the police vehicles and emergency equipment through the Smithfield Capital Lease Fund.
Move to authorize, I'm sorry. Were you going to say something?
I was just I didn't know if I had to request the authorization. But if I don't, excuse me.
Yeah, that was, move to authorize the attached resolution as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Item E,
Thank you.
we're going to continue to September 16th. Table it. I have a motion on that.
Motion to table.
I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Abstain. 1 abstention. Recusal. Item F, consider, discuss, and act upon authorizing a 1-year extension for the purchase of gasoline and diesel fuel to the Rhode Island Purchasing Agents Association to be funded by the Department of Public Works and operating budget.
Good evening, Gene Allen, Director of Public Works.
Director, welcome again.
Again. This is just an extension of our annual bid. The last bid we went out for, Carlos, the purchasing agent, negotiated with a 2-year extension. This is just approving that.
I'll entertain a motion. Have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Nays? Ayes have it. Item G, consider discuss act upon authorizing a poll petition for Rhode Island Energy Company to install one new pole at number 6-50 Industrial Drive.
And no objections to the location proposed.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Nays? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Item H, consider discuss act upon approving a tax abatements in the amount of $8,913.65.
Council members, this is the abatements put together by Chris Celeste, our assessor, in the amount of $8,913.65.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Nays? Ayes have it. Public comment.
Good evening, Tom Hodgkins, 200 Putnam Pike, with regards to item E, which was continued for the purchase of the property at 0 Cross Street. I wanted to inquire of the council whether there's been an appraisal done of that property and how the price was arrived at. There was no appraisal that was in the package. Thank you.
Was there an appraisal?
Yeah, there was an appraisal. I think the appraisal amount was about $235,000, something like that.
Okay, that wasn't.
It was, yeah, it was $235,000. I think it was in our package when we approved the request for the grant. The grant. Right.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else?
Jeff Gross, Gloucester, Rhode Island again. I was out of state at the time. I want to thank this body for passing the resolution condemning the assault weapons ban at the State House. It may be symbolic. The people at the Rhode Island State House had no intention of following the Constitution. That's clear. Mr. Tassoni, you asked me a question that the night I was here back in May. Will the NRA be fighting this case? Yes, it will. It's drawn national attention, not only through the NRA. I became a lifetime member of the Second Amendment Foundation, and they're planning, hopefully going to litigate it in the near future. However, because it's not a live controversy until July 2nd, nothing can be done. Now, that said, it's quite apparent Smithfield is being overbuilt. Can the town really afford to lose a farm like Seven Cedars Farm? I was here the night last month on their application for the Fall Festival permit. I was kind of disgusted about the commentary from this body. And going forward, I think it would behoove this body to get behind all the what few farms are left in Smithfield and work with them in a positive manner. Thank you. Because no farms, no food. Thank you.
I think, if I may, I think the discussion we had with them was there was a tragic accident on that farm. And we wanted to make sure it was in the safety of everyone that visited that farm or the rides that they were bringing forward on the Halloween and other facilities that they have, make sure it's safety. It was a very bad, tragic accident that happened over there. That's why we did what we did.
Agreed, but the circumstances involving the permit and the commentaries were regarding a difference of opinion with a neighbor with the lighting of the parking lot. We need to do better. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Good evening. I'll make it quick. Ian McLean, 22 Highview Drive. On the 0 Cross Street, item E that's being deferred. So I understand it's about $235,000 for the appraisal on it. The grant that was the grant approved at this point? And was it a 50-50 grant?
Yes.
Okay. Just for a public record and just to go on statement, not knowing if I'll be able to make the next meeting for that, I think it's a bit egregious to spend money on purchasing extras like land in a year that we're cutting funding for things like the schools. As a member of the Budget Committee, we put through a certain proposal and recommendation, and that was rejected and ultimately reduced by 50% of what was what was proposed. So this delta here, what we would be spending as a town, is essentially what was reduced from the proposal from the Budget Committee for the school budget. So I want to keep that in mind as we look to future spending items. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.